else here, life is full of choices, some big, some small. And when you choose an H&R Block Tax Pro, you're choosing the largest network of tax expertise to be in your corner. For when your big ambitions need help with the small details. For when your six figures come from 6 different places. For when your gaming stream becomes your revenue stream. For when your business's year one needs 70 years of tax know-how. At H&R Block, they've seen it all, and they're here to help you make the most out of your money for life outside the box. Get started at HRBlock.com.
Query and Company.
Shane Steichen said it.
Thought our guys played hard today and fought like crazy.
You know what's crazy? Expecting different results from doing the same thing over and over. I have nothing against Chris Ballard personally, but he's had plenty of time, plenty of it. And now here we are once again sitting there on the sidelines watching the playoffs. Bottom line for the Indianapolis Colts. Got to start looking for different results and doing it under different guidance.
Query and Company, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
I'm Kirk Darling. Well, Riley Leonard had a solid day for the most part, but the Indianapolis Colts lost to the Houston Texans to close out the regular season Sunday, 38-30. Leonard had 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick.
Every snap that I was out there, had goosebumps, just thinking, man, I made it, right? But that all gets wiped away whenever you make mistakes.
Meanwhile, head coach Shane Steichen and GM Chris Ballard will both be retained by the Colts for next season. The Indiana Hoosier men grabbed a 90-80 win over Washington inside Assembly Hall on Sunday. Head coach Darian DeVries.
I thought the guys did a really good job of managing the game down the stretch there. I don't think we had any turnovers in those last 3 or 4 minutes.
Lamar Wilkerson led Indiana with 22 points. The Hoosiers are 11-3 and head to Maryland on Wednesday. I'm Kirk Darling for 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, JV here for WeGrowHairIndy.com. My friend Darren Andrews awaits your call at 317-522-2995 or WeGrowHairIndy.com today. So I have been a We Grow Hair Indy member for the better part of 9 years, and so glad I did because I had that classic Costanza horseshoe design setting in, and frankly, I wanted my real hair back and knew that it was leaving, vacating the premises. But Darren Andrews said, hey, we can help you out here with either multi-unit hair grafting or artist robotic FUE. Whatever you need, we shall do to get your real growing hair back again. That's exactly what happened. And all I did was make that call to Darren Andrews at 317-522-2995, WeGrowHairIndy.com. Don't wait. Do it now. That's 317-522-2995. Be just like me, JMV, and get your free evaluation and get your hair back today. WeGrowHairIndy.com.
When I wake up,
the best mornings
in the morning light,
start with Wrangler.
pull on my jeans and I feel all right.
Jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started on the right foot.
I pull my blue jeans on. I pull my old blue jeans on.
Good mornings make for better days.
I pull my blue jeans on. I pull my old blue jeans on.
Wrangler, for the ride of life.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BP, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Out of the gun goes Leonard. 3 receivers stacked to the left side. Leonard looks that way. Hitches. Taking a shot wide open downfield. It's Alec Pierce. He's got it. He's going to go. 20, 10. Glides into the end zone. Untouched. He got behind everybody for a touchdown. 3 receivers deployed left. Leonard, shotgun snap. Scanning. Throws right side into the end zone. Has a man. Touchdown. Alec Pierce. You know it. 2 today for Pierce. Deep drop on play action. Leonard loading up again, looking for Pierce. He's got it inside the 5 and is dragged down short of the goal line, down to the 1-yard line. The 3rd bomb today to Alec Pierce.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, contacting an official, offense number 14, a 15-yard penalty. The down will count, 4th down. Number 14 is disqualified.
Wow. 5 seconds to go. Let's see what they can do. Riley Leonard backs the throw. Drives it over the middle. Caught by Josh Downs, 30. Here's a lateral back to Michael Pittman Jr. outside the numbers. Back to Riley Leonard to the 20-yard line. And he just loses the ball. It's available inside the 10. The Texans have it. They're running the other way. And they score a touchdown to the final play of the game.
Yeah, it was frustrating. The last half of this season for sure. That's what it's been, not finding ways to finish. And we got to work tirelessly to get that fixed. Obviously, we showed signs early in the season that was pretty darn good. And we had some unfortunate circumstances, but that's part of the league. You got to overcome those circumstances. And that's where you have to learn from and grow from to when you get in those situations. Again, you learn from them like, hey, here's how we have to win now with the circumstances, that we have. But that's not for me to decide. But what I will say is I love this team. I love this organization. Love the city, love the fans.
Should I stay or should I go?
Well, we don't have to worry about that very long. The Colts announcing after the game last night that both Shane Steichen and General Manager Chris Ballard are going to be sticking around. Good morning and welcome into the Fan Morning Show on a Monday. The entire gang together again. James Boyd making it back from Houston, Texas, after watching the Texans last night with the Colts. Mark Dykton is back from his year-and-a-half sabbatical that he's been on, and Kevin Bowen is always just showing up every morning and doing work. How you been, man?
I'm good. Yeah, good to see everybody. Mark, welcome back.
Hi.
James, I know is quite the travel for you, and locker room clean out here in a couple hours. So, probably much needed for all these intelligent voices around me here on this Monday morning. So thank you.
Well, where do we start? We'll just go around the horn, and I suppose I'll start with you, James Boyd. Scale of 1 to 100. How shocked are you that Ballard and Steichen will both be coming back?
0, most likely.
Nope. That microphone is not working, Mark. Is it turned on?
Let's do that
down
again.
There?
Try
All
it
right,
again,
try it again.
James. Run it back.
Can you give yourself a buzz, Mark?
Me? I can't
No,
see him.
it's not working. You have to
he's
grab
over
the other
there.
one there.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay, go ahead.
0.
There we go. Can you give yourself
There
a
we
buzzer
go.
there, Mark Dykton?
Sure.
Welcome back.
I'm about to say.
Appreciate that.
Letting you all know this was not my fault. I hit the on button for my mic.
Last time I was here, you were on mic 5. Now you're on mic 4. I'm like, I don't know what the hell's
He's
going
graduated.
Well, yeah, when you ain't been here, talking about last time you was here, that was last year.
I know. It's been
Very
a while.
much into last year. But anyways, thank you all for listening, sticking with us through our still new studio design and all of that. But no, I would say it's a scale of 1 to 100, 0, or 0 to 100, 0. I wasn't surprised by it at all. Now, I did write that I felt like they should move on from Chris Ballard. That I still stand by. But my surprise level was not shock at all.
Kevin Bowen?
Yeah, I would agree pretty close to what James said. I felt like it was certainly trending in that direction. There was always kind of an ounce of what will Carly Ursay-Gordon do that was just, a tad of an unknown with it all. But, I'm reminded here on this Black Monday, I guess if you want to call it that, and this is kind of like the first full day back, right? Everybody's, whatever. Kids are back to school and, hey, we got the band back together, albeit we probably should audio test it out for about 5 hours before the show starts at 7 a.m. But I am reminded and honestly, all of us could do this in the jobs that we have. You should strive to find you a boss that creates a leash that is as long as the leash that Chris Ballard has had with the Ursay family.
Listen up, Jeff.
And I'm talking like one of those leashes that you see at the mall with those kids on it.
You're
Like,
back here, aren't you?
I'm not.
Say, look, when I mess up my mic at 7:02 in the morning, I want you to keep that leash nice and long.
I'm not talking like walk the dog around, the block here. And honestly, after parenting Max Bowen for 3 years, I'm a little bit more open to the leash at the mall idea than I previously thought. It's insane, that some organizations strive legacies of winning, and this is an organization that's created a legacy of accepting mediocrity. And frankly, to call it mediocre would probably be a compliment if you really want to be honest about it there. So, I found it very fitting on the anniversary of the 11th, I guess, year since your last home game that you decided to say, hey, the stench of acceptance, it is smelling big time over there on West 56th Street, and it's alive and well once again.
We just put blinders on, and we just keep steering that wagon right down the road, and whatever happens, Wheels are starting to fall off. They got chunks falling out of them. The covered wagon, the little canvas covers are tattered a little bit. We just keep looking straight down the road. It's all going to be fine. Once we get around that next corner, it's all going to be fine. The sunshine's going to come out. It's going to be warm. We're going to have just a straight road into a place where we can fix everything once and for all. And the road just is endless. It never stops. It never stops. There's never a destination. I like, personally, Chris Ballard. I don't really know Shane Steichen all that well. I think he's my own outside observation. I think he's a fine offensive coordinator. I'm not impressed with him as a head coach. I don't understand what they're doing. I just don't understand. It's always something. Well, if it wasn't for the injuries. Well, if it wasn't for Andrew Luck retiring. Well, we thought I had our guy at Carson Wentz, but it turned out that he was a dud. We were all fooled by that. There's an excuse every single year. It never gets better. Every single year. How many years now, guys, have they had in the final 3 weeks of the regular season? How many years in a row, despite whatever injuries, despite whatever quarterback, despite whatever anything, have they had an opportunity where all they had to do was probably win one of their final 3 games, and they will likely make the postseason, and they never seem to get it done? When's the last time that happened?
It's a good question. I honestly think when you look at what you're saying, Jeff, and I've been on this stat for a few weeks now, they're 9-17. Since their last playoff appearance in 2020, they're 9-17 in December and January combined since then. So, in other words, they fold on an annual basis in the months where you have to win. And asking that question to Kenny Moore II after the game, and he's very short. You could tell he was irritated by the loss and the way the season has gone, and I understand that. Only thing he could say was just execution. When I asked why they keep folding, I asked Molly Cox the same thing. Well, I don't know. We're in these games. We were ahead today. We were ahead against Seattle. We were ahead against Kansas City. Couldn't get it done. Michael Pittman Jr. is talking about his future. Yeah, when things don't go the right way, I might not be here and others might not be here. So the point is, I guess what I want to get to at some point today, and we will eventually when we talk to Carly herself, but what is the plan and how much? Okay, so if you don't want to change at the top with Chris Ballard and potentially Shane Steichen, then what will you change to give us a different outcome than we've seen? Because right now, the crux of your new vision or this, I don't know, new era that you're in as the principal owner is to run it back with the same quarterback, same regime, and you're banking on a quarterback who has a lengthy injury history being fine after an Achilles tear and hopefully having better injury luck next year than this year. That's the gist of it right now. Now, I haven't talked to her. We will later today. But to me, that's probably the problem. And I'm not blaming Daniel Jones by any means. He's a very tough dude, had a great season or a great half a season. But it's the NFL, man. You can't get caught up in the, well, we could have been this. Well, we say that every year, as Jeff said.
Yeah, 2:30 today, just for those that have not heard. Out there, Carly Ursay-Gordon. In all seriousness, I will give her, which, I don't know, maybe I'm basing it off of what happened last year, but I am glad that she's at least speaking today. You know, no one from the family spoke last year.
Yeah.
After the season ended, it was just the letter, which you had to laugh at reading it. So, frankly, I would say that for any NFL fan base out there, I think you owe it to your fans, the time and the energy and the money that they spend investing into your franchise. I think every year, frankly, there should be a postmortem from the ownership group. So we will hear from her coming up this afternoon. Yeah, Jeff, you mentioned, okay, end of the season, 1 game away. Did you see how many games they lost the division by? They weren't 1 game away.
No, I'm talking about making it into the postseason.
Massive.
I'm saying 3 weeks ago, if they would have won 1 more game, there's a really good chance they get to the postseason, is my point.
No, that's not true. They missing the postseason by 3 games. Like, there is going to be this misnomer when we get to the end of the season of like, man, we were right there. But just 1 game. No. Jacksonville won 13 games. The Colts won 8. The Chargers are the worst wild card team. How many games did they win? 11. The Colts won 8. They were not 1 game away. They were not 1 play away. I'm so tired of hearing this on an annual basis.
I accept that. But my point is, every year they go into December in a great position if all they got to do is win 1 or 2 games. And they never do. That's my point.
Yeah, well, this year it wasn't even 1 and 2 games, just to make that
because they
clear.
lost to the teams that kept gaining ground on them. They lost twice to Jacksonville.
I find myself going back to 365 days ago. James, you were in the post-game press conference with Joe Flacco. And Joe Flacco took to the mic, and I thought he had one of the most poignant quotes about going 8-9. And I wanted to read that just again because
good callback.
Part of me thought, hell, we could just run it back from 7-10 last January on Black Monday. But Flacco said this: when you're 8-9, there's probably a ton of spots where you could look and convince yourself that we were almost there. I don't necessarily think that's the right mindset. I don't think we should be trying to trick ourselves into thinking that we're almost there. I think we should acknowledge, yeah, we are almost there, but we're not there. I think when you acknowledge that, you free yourself up to get better and take that next step. That quote to me was a little reminiscent of Pascal Siakam after the trip to the conference finals, where he was very adamant in that postgame when the Celtics had swept the Pacers of you don't fall out of bed and this happens again. And again, where did Siakam come from? An NBA champion. As Joe Flacco has experienced a Super Bowl title. That, to me, is the mindset you have to have. You have to face reality. Don't run and hide and be stubborn. Embrace change. And instead, this organization continues to accept mediocrity. You know, it's not one that's, you know, if whatever, Shane Steichen at 9 o'clock today or Carly Ursay at 2 o'clock today or Chris Ballard later this week get up there and say, we're about winning, no. That's just not true. Because right now you look around the NFL and the Colts have the third longest current playoff drought in the entire league. I mean, you're talking 29 of 31 teams. 29 of 31 have made the playoffs since you last have. And we can go on and on. We can go on and on with the division titles. We can go on and on with the playoff wins, all of it. You've heard us say that endlessly here over the last few weeks. So I guess to just kind of put a bow tie on all of it, to go back to the first question you asked, Jeff, to lead off the show. And people ask me this, like, how surprised were you? And not really. To me, it's typical Colts in this era. And that's quite jarring to say, but that's frankly the reality of where we're at right now.
Here's one of the biggest fails of all. Consistently. It never gets better. Between the two of you, shout it out because you already know the answer. How many sacks yesterday? How many sacks did the Colts have yesterday, playing oftentimes against backups? How many sacks did they have yesterday, Kevin?
Goose egg. I believe 2 hits.
They don't get pressure on the quarterback in a league where that is mandatory.
It was a very fitting way to end the year.
That last play was perfect.
We were sitting in the press box like, yeah, I should probably write they're going to lose this game because this is exactly how they always lose it.
Well, it was
and to lose it against the backups, largely against backups, was so fitting.
I found it as fitting as the ending to the 2022 season. Ironically, the same quarterback leading those drives when Davis Mills went down the field and converts 4th down after 4th down, and the heroic plays that they made to kind of cap that season.
And boy, did that ever have, what's the word, like the butterfly effect?
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine what that did for Houston, what that has done now for Indianapolis? The Texans are going to their 3rd straight playoffs, and the Colts are off to the Caribbean for the 5th straight year.
And they do it by losing their final 7 games of the year. I get the quarterback situation. I understand. I say this still. Great story, Phillip Rivers. But is anybody surprised that they didn't win any football games when Phillip Rivers was the starting quarterback?
Should I ask Mark to pull out the audio saying I thought it should have been Riley Leonard, or no?
You did say that. I do recall, despite being in a hibernation state for the last 2.5 weeks. I do recall that.
Great to see your face, Mark. Congrats to your Bears.
I can't see your face from where I sit, but it's great to hear your voice, Mark.
Good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you. James, I can partially see your glasses.
Bears-Packers Saturday primetime. Is that correct? Saturday night?
Yeah. Amazon Prime. I'm a bit surprised by that one.
Hey, they know full well that's going to be a highly viewed game. They got to reward Amazon.
Bring it on.
All right, we'll check it down coming up in a moment. We got a lot to talk about today. I'm going to open up the phone lines and the text line. Got to get your reactions. Carly Ursay Gordon going to meet at 2:30 today to explain everything. But Chris Ballard, Shane Steichen, both returning, and another fail with 0 playoff appearances happening this year. We'll talk about it next on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
With Progressive Insurance, drivers who switch to Progressive could save big. See if you could save by calling 1-800-PROGRESSIVE or visiting Progressive.com. Again, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE or online at Progressive.com.
Guys and ladies, you made your New Year's resolution to get back in shape, but what happens? You don't see results and you give up. If you want real results in 2026, go now to Synergenics and Low T Center for a free men's TRT test and $200 off the women's hormone hormone test. Book now at GetMyHealthFix.com. Get real about your health this year with Synergenics and Low T Center. For a limited time, the men's TRT test is free, and ladies take $200 off the women's hormone test. Say no to diet trends, questionable online treatments, and deceptive prices from other places. Looking for the best? Synergenics and Low T Center are the leading experts. Meet with a real provider, get real medication and real results. People across central Indiana are going to Synergenics and Low T Center to change their lives. Walk in or book an appointment at GetMyHealthFix.com. That's GetMyHealthFix.com. Again, GetMyHealthFix.com today.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
Score more with a college-branded Venmo debit card. Rep your team with every tap and earn up to 5% cash back through Venmo Stash, a new rewards program where the more you do, the more you get. Get your Venmo debit card today and start earning rewards with Venmo Stash. Learn more at venmo.com/collegecard.
The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. Select schools available. Venmo Stash terms and exclusions apply. Max $100 cash back per month. See terms at venmo.me/stash terms.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season. I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HAWK to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HAWK to 321-321. That's HAWK to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game.
That's ETHOS.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store and online. And now, the more you buy, the more you save on beds, bases, and more. Limited time. For JD Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Check it out at the Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Good morning and welcome to another Monday of Colts coverage nonstop. The Indianapolis Colts announced after their loss to the Houston Texans yesterday that they'll be retaining general manager Chris Ballard and head coach Shane Steichen for the 2026 season. Carly Ursay-Gordon will speak on everything Colts at 2:30 this afternoon. We'll carry that live, and you'll be able to listen to it here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan again beginning at 2:30 p.m. Kevin Bowen. I asked James Boyd how shocked he was on a scale of 1 to 100. Actually, he said 0. I know you're not all that shocked, but what's your disappointment meter level at right now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that would be obviously very, very high. Again, typical Colts is how I phrased it there in the first segment. So, yeah, that's where I would go as well. Again, I thought yesterday was very fitting, the end to the season and the manner that it happened. But, boy, shout out to Riley Leonard. You know, to make the amount of throws he did, second and third level there in the first half, that was wildly impressive because, honestly, you know, if you'd have told me Riley Leonard has a great game or a good game, however you want to call it, I would have guessed a lot of kind of like he's making plays with his legs. And honestly, he just made a lot of plays with his right arm from the pocket. So really good on him. And who knows, maybe they'll need him at the start of next season in some capacity there. And I also thought the softest ejection I've ever seen in the NFL from Alec Pierce.
Yeah, Alec Pierce literally rubs against an official in a very nonchalant, non-intentional way. And this very soft official is like, you can't touch me. Get out of the football game. It was one of the weakest calls I've ever seen, James. There was nothing to it. There was nothing to it.
We talked to Alec after the game, and he was saying that he truly didn't mean to do what he did, apologize to the official. And then he made a joke about how he was acting like his older brothers, who I guess when you're playing basketball, as they have, it's a little easier to get ejected because you can hear everything they say. So he'll hear about that in the family group chat for sure.
All right. The Colts did lose to the Texans 38-30. They finish 8-9 on the season. You mentioned Riley Leonard, 21-34 for 270 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, both of those going to Alec Pierce. 1 interception, ran the ball well. The guy who didn't run the ball well, and it wasn't all his fault, the Texans decided that Jonathan Taylor was not going to hurt them. 14 carries for 26 yards. He was not getting anywhere yesterday.
Yeah, not surprised by that at all. That has been the theme throughout their losing streak. What is it? 7 straight losses, 8 of their last 9. And in those 8 of 9 losses, 8 of them, he has not rushed for 100 yards.
0 sacks again on the day for the defense. Where's Lou Anarumo in fault for all this year?
Yeah, I mean, definitely not, I think, a banner year for Lou. I tend to think defensive personnel, particularly in the front 7, is more of the problem. I think the scheme change was needed and welcomed. Your point total, I think, improved very slightly from points allowed. But yeah, once again, your pass rush fails. And to me, that is another you could make the argument that might be the blackest eye on the Ballard resume because that's what he believes in so much is defensive line. And, the investments are rich across that group. And another year where that group continues to fail.
Real quick, they are actually going to change defensive line coaches. Charlie Partridge, the Colts defensive line coach the last 2 years, is heading to Notre Dame. So at least one coaching change is going to happen this offseason.
All right, one coaching change, right? Raheem Morris is gone in Atlanta along with general manager Terry Fontenot. Despite the fact that they won 4 straight games to finish the season, they did finish outside of the playoffs. Arthur Blank says he's had enough, but Arthur Blank seems to say, Kevin, he has had enough with everybody after about 1.5 years, 2 years all the time.
So the only win for the Colts since Halloween, that coach just got canned. The Colts didn't win a game in regulation after Halloween.
Can't the same be said about them not winning a game here in the United States?
I was going to say they left their win in Berlin.
Yeah.
Left their win in Berlin. How about that? Put that on a shirt, Mark.
Let's all go back and get it. Man, oh man, oh man. All right, AFC wildcard round coming up this week, and the Broncos earn the number 1 bye. The Patriots will take on the Chargers. Jaguars go up against the Bills. Steelers take on the Texans. In the NFC, the Seahawks got the number 1 overall seed. The Bears will be taking on the Packers. Is there a better way to start the playoffs, Mark Dykton, for the Bears than to take on the Packers?
No, not really. I was like, bring it on. That it seemed to be kind of the way it was going anyway. So shout out to the Commanders for beating the Eagles, giving the Bears the 2 seed, and now that is the Amazon Prime game on Saturday night.
Yeah, the Eagles will take on the 49ers, and the Panthers back into the playoffs and an NFC South championship because Atlanta beat New Orleans and they win a tiebreaker at 8-9. They will take on the Rams. That's what's happening in the NFL. In the NBA, Pacers lost to Orlando 135-127. Close again, but no cigar. They've lost 12 in a row. Benedict Mathurin now out, Kevin, with a thumb injury for a while that just keeps coming and coming and coming.
Yeah, I saw a national report that he had been playing through it for a couple weeks now. Obviously, he had the toe injury, which sidelined him for whatever that was, multiple weeks earlier in the season. Yeah, it's quite the slide. And again, another massive run just dooms them. Yesterday, I actually watched a good amount of that fourth quarter. They had some moments there, really some loose balls that just they couldn't come up with. So, yeah, this awful season continues for the Pacers.
They will play again tomorrow night at home against the Cleveland Cavaliers. You'll hear it live right here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan, 6:30 airtime, 7 o'clock tip. Indiana basketball a winner yesterday over Washington. It was down in Bloomington. They get a 90-80 victory. Lamar Wilkerson scored 22 points. Tatum Conaway had 20 in the victory there. It was the first game the Hoosiers have played in basketball in almost 2 weeks. As far as Indiana football is concerned, they continue to get ready for the college football playoff semifinal game Friday night against Oregon. But they are cleaning up, James Boyd, in the portal. TCU quarterback Josh Hoover, Michigan State wide receiver Nick Marsh, Cincinnati safety Jaquan Sanks, Notre Dame defensive lineman Josh Burnham, Boston College running back Turbo Richard, Kansas State edge rusher Toby Osunsanmi. It seems like these are all top 3, top 5 at their position, and they've decided to come to Indiana.
Yeah, we're in the new world where the rich get richer, and the rich in this case is IU, which, again, does not even sound like something that was possible 4 or 5 years ago, but here we are, and they're doing all this while still having their eye on a national championship.
Crazy. There were several IU reserves that have entered the portal. Kurt Cignetti said he offered all of them the chance to stick around and practice. Some declined and will be moving on. They didn't name a lot of those guys. I haven't looked that up yet. But Purdue also had a couple of guys, a couple of junior college All-Americans. Tavari Hampton is a safety. They did also pick up Jarek Gibson, the running back from Texas. So that's the latest on portal recruiting. I guess that's the thing we do now in January, portal recruiting reports.
Well, I want to make sure you give a shout out to Braden Smith, passing Cassius Winston, all-time assist leader in Big Ten history. If you do the math, assuming Purdue makes another March-April run, he could get to Bobby Hurley here before it's all said and done. So Braden Smith, one of the greatest players we have seen college basketball-wise, certainly in the state and in the Big Ten as a whole. Purdue pretty much put on a clinic up there at the Kohl Center over the weekend. So shout out to Braden Smith. And 891 was the number he needed to pass Cassius Winston, and he did that.
All right, and if you want to read more on that, our buddy Mike DeCourcy at Sporting News wrote a terrific piece on Braden Smith, so go find that and check that out. Anything else you guys want to throw in before we head to break and get cooking on the Colts again today?
Last night was epic for those that stayed up for it. Game 272, lived up to it in the NFL. It was a missed field goal by Ravens kicker Tyler Loop to cost them a chance at going to the playoffs there. Chris Boswell had missed an extra point on the previous possession. Just a wild fourth quarter, back and back. Aaron Rodgers, Mark, turning back the clock there. I know that made you excited. Lamar Jackson, Isaiah Likely, a huge fourth down conversion. And now we await, I guess, the fate of one John Harbaugh, potentially.
My dad and one of my brothers are like, we're going to bed. It's too late. I'm like, get up. This game got insane in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it got real wonky real quick. So, yeah, if you stayed up for that one, it was well worth it.
All right, we'll get back to the Colts and what they are doing, what they're not doing, and what we expect to hear from Carly Ursay-Gordon a little bit later on today. We'll take some of your texts at 239-1070, some of your phone calls. You want to get in on that, same number, 239-1070. It's a busy Monday morning here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan.
The biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year, courtesy of Zero Res Indy. Zero Resified, it is that time of year. Start your freshest year yet, clean 2025, right out of your home. 3 rooms starting at $119, plus a free hallway. Take 15% off regularly priced services, air ducts, upholstery, area rugs, tile, hardwood, and more. And Lord knows the Bowen family needs it, with plenty of spills on that carpet. Visit ZeroResIndy.com or call 317-388-5141. Tell them the fan sent you.
If you're feeling off your game, low T could be the cause. Your local Game Day Men's Health can help. Our licensed medical team offers fast in-house testing with results on your first visit. We're leaders in testosterone therapy, erectile dysfunction, and peptide therapies, and we'll build a personalized plan to help you get back in the game. Start today at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Search online for your nearest Game Day Men's Health location to schedule an appointment, where every day is game day.
Get ready to hoop. It's back. Time to try your skills at Axel's Garage this Thursday with a fan's very own Jake Query from 5 to 7 p.m. with Michelob Ultra's Mini Hoops Challenge. Michelob Ultra Mini Hoops Challenge gives you a chance to win a Michelob Ultra basketball jersey and punch your ticket to the Mini Hoops Finals, where a trip to see Indiana versus Milwaukee in Milwaukee on February 6th is on the line, complete with a hotel gift card and $100 Visa gift card. Visit 1075thefan.com today to see all the locations and details.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Indiana winters or when serious plumbing problems show up. Frozen pipes, no hot water, backed up drains. Indiana winters deserve a real local Indiana plumber. Hey, it's JMV. At our house, we use LD Smith Plumbing and Drains. Real local people answering your call who live, work, and play here, and they're specialists. All they do is water. Call the company I trust. That's LD Smith Plumbing and Drains. 317-927-7186. Online, ldsmithplumbing.com today.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin.
Looking for fun the whole family will love? Head to Royal Pin Entertainment, Indy's home for non-stop fun. Bowl your heart out with family and friends on the modern lanes. Challenge your friends to an epic battle of laser tag or a more casual round of mini golf. Dive into the expansive arcade filled with classic and cutting-edge games. Royal Pin has something for everyone. Kids stay entertained, parents kick back in style, and everyone leaves smiling. With multiple locations around Indianapolis, your next family night out is closer than you think. Plan your visit at royalpin.com.
Set them up, knock them down, send them flying, spinning round.
Royal Pin Entertainment, where Indy comes to play.
Royal Pin. Bowling, bowling. Royal Pin.
Hey, it's Mark, and the holidays are in the rearview mirror. We've entered the new year. That means now is the perfect time to do a self-evaluation of your heating in your house. Do you have any issues over the holidays with the family in town? I saw a couple neighbors after Thanksgiving and Christmas that had HVAC cars outside their homes. Don't do that. Be proactive. Do what I did 2 years ago. Get the folks that love heating and air conditioning out to your home today so they can check you out, make sure that you're doing okay, and the heating bills are going to be just fine with you. Don't delay. Give them a call today. 317-353-2141 is the phone number, or check them out online, love-hvac.com. Can set up a house call, talk to a customer service rep, go over all the products and services they provide. You can read customer reviews like mine. You can also go over financial options as well if you're ready to take that next step. If you need a full blown replacement or just a tune-up, they will take care of you. John and Chris Love, they're fourth-generation owners. They'll make sure you're a satisfied customer, just like the Dykton household is. Plus, Love Heating and Air has been centrally owned and operated for over 100 years. That's how long they've been serving Indianapolis and Central Indiana through the full century. 317-353-2141 is the phone number, or check them out online, love-hvac.com.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
In sports, it's the dream team. And if your car is out of warranty, there's a team for that as well. You, the driver, your mechanic, and Endurance to pay for the repair bills. I'm Danica Patrick. In the past 5 years, auto repair costs have gone up over 36%. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all. With an Endurance auto protection plan, no matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done by the certified mechanic of your choice. Plans cover 24/7 towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, and lockout services. Act now and get the benefits of our Elite Plan, a $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again. So call now for your free quote.
Call 800-281-1240. That's 800-281-1240. 800-281-1240.
It's the Fan Morning Show along with Kevin Bowen, James Boyd. I'm Jeff Rickard, and I'm looking at this playoff bracket for the National Football League coming up over the next few weeks. I'm looking and looking. I'm checking it twice. I've got my list. Apparently, the Colts have been naughty because I can't find them anywhere on this particular playoff bracket, James Boyd. How could that possibly be?
Well, we've known that for weeks. At this point, we're just looking at the offseason.
Here we are again, is the point, Kevin, right where they continue to be, and yet it appears that aside from a few guys that might not come back, for the most part, it feels like it's going to be a run back again, correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's been typical Colts in the Ballard era. I think there are some big-ticketed guys that you need to have very serious questions about. The names of Michael Pittman Jr., the names of Isaiah Franklin, the names of even Kenny Moore. I think some of these names you just have to take a long, hard look at because you don't have a lot of wiggle room. Obviously, draft pick-wise, you don't have your first rounder. And then money-wise, you would think Alec Pierce is going to merit, deservedly so, a really healthy sum. And Daniel Jones will likely get a healthy sum as well. So, again, that's not been Ballard's MO at all. He's been obsessed with this. Why you think Carly Ursay-Gordon is operating in the run-it-back phrase? You would guess her answer, which, again, she'll meet the media at 2:30 today. You would guess her answer is what?
I think it would have to do a lot with the injuries. And then, two, already giving that vote of confidence to Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen with the Sauce Gardner deal. Because we said at the time that you don't make that deal, you don't make that trade if you aren't confident in allowing that GM to come back and allowing that head coach to come back. Now, granted, at the time, Daniel Jones was healthy, but that told us everything right there, in my opinion. Because it's very rare that you will let a GM mortgage your future and get rid of 2 first-round picks going forward if you're not going to keep them around for that future. And I think that's the debate that we've had in recent weeks, Kevin, and why we were kind of butting heads, not in like a disagreement way, but in a here's why I think this is possible way of why they would think like this. And you're telling me, well, they shouldn't. And I'm agreeing with you, but that's the reality of the situation, in my opinion. And then you look at, again, where this team is from a roster construction standpoint. You do kind of have your hands tied. And I went back and found this Ballard quote from last year this month. So literally 1 year ago, almost to the day, where I believe it was you or someone else asked him, would you be more aggressive in year 9, given it could be boom or bust or make it or break it? And he said, well, I would not. The word he used was hamstring. I wouldn't hamstring this franchise for the next 3 or 4 years. Well, which one did you just do after the Sauce Gardner deal? Because now you're hamstrung as a franchise because you're tying your future to Daniel Jones, essentially, who, by the way, tough dude, played amazing, I thought, for about 2 months, but now has another devastating injury added to an already lengthy injury history. So banking on all of that to work in 2026 when everyone's a year older in a sport as violent as football just seems very naive. But as you stated to open the show, Kevin, they are committed to what you and I believe is mediocrity.
Check the fan text line at 239-1070. Special thanks to KB, says Nick, for saying that, quote, calling it mediocre would be a compliment, unquote. I'm not a season ticket holder, but I've been to 3 AFC championships and 1 Super Bowl. I am absolutely done investing money into attending games until there's a GM change. And the fact that Ballard's under contract isn't a good enough excuse. They make plenty of revenue to afford Ballard's early dismissal. This is embarrassing, guys. He really must know where all the bodies are buried.
Yeah, again, I would say calling it mediocre would be a compliment. Just to remind everyone, 16 teams are in the AFC, and if you look at the 9 years of Ballard teams within this conference, the finishes are as followed. Again, 16 teams. 13th, 6th, 10th, 7th, 8th, 15th, 9th, 9th, 8th, 8th. So if my math is correct on that, that would be 2 times above average, 7 times average or below, none higher than 6th. 16 teams.
That's just the report card. That's just what it is.
Correct. Yes. And again, for me with Ballard, James, we talked a little bit about this last week. I think you could make a case really 3-layered in being very critical to the point of a firing. One is, I believe you've labeled it, and, feel free to come over and be Uncle James at any point, the counting resume, the 0-1-2 method, right?
Yeah.
So the 0 division titles, the 1 playoff win, the 2 playoff appearances. That's the counting part of the resume.
Yep.
You go next on the resume. If right now the Colts got a 3rd-round pick for Anthony Richardson in the trade market this offseason, you would consider that a win, would you not?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's just call it that hypothetical. So that means you spent the 4th overall pick in the draft, and the return on investment was a 3rd-rounder you got 3 years later. Obviously, that would be labeled a bust. I would consider that to be a failure on the resume. And then the last part, which is probably more of in the Ballard binder, when he presented the binder to you in January 2017 as a GM, it was, hey, we're defensive line driven franchise, and we're going to invest endlessly into this. Blah, 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 a bunch of 1st-round picks and 2nd-round picks and 3rd-round picks and all this money. And, Jeff, to your point that you brought up earlier, I thought yesterday was very fitting that was your defensive line effort to end the 7-game losing streak. 0 sacks, 2 hits against a Texans offensive line that always has issues, and yesterday had several guys that were in and out of the lineup as they opted to rest some guys throughout that game. That, to me, considering it's his I think it's fair to say that is his biggest priority. And again, if I'm Carly Gordon, the evaluation process, you would think, and Jeff, you can probably speak to this better than anyone. Okay, you are the boss. Okay, let's say whatever you hire Mark Dykton, and Mark comes to you and says, I'm going to be whatever the best reentry guy. I'm going to book all these elite guests, et cetera, et cetera. And he comes to you and he doesn't produce any of that after 9 years.
It's a day that ends in Y.
I wasn't going to say that, but I'm glad that you chimed in on that.
I will say this.
Scott Dolson, by the way, IUAD, coming up at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Talk about big guests. I love that.
So that to me is wait a minute. You told me
that makes up for being a Bears fan.
When I hired you, you were going to do this. And now here we are 9 years later. You've invested in it like no other. You've put all these resources into it. And yet the return on that is what? So again, for me with Ballard, it's 3-layered. It's the counting resume. 0-1-2. You can go there. You can go with Richardson being an absolute bust, assuming he is moved for a 3rd-round pick, if you want to play out that hypothetical. And then lastly, the defensive line.
Just real quick, he's not worth a 3rd-round
pick. I was going to say, who's giving a 3rd-round pick?
I'm just trying to throw out a hypothetical to give whatever.
Yeah, I know. I just want to save you from the inevitable person who's driving and rolling their eyes like Kevin is off his rocker this morning. So I just want to help you out, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Here's one from Justin. Good morning, James, KB, Jeff. Thank you guys for your coverage of the team all season. This is very frustrating and very difficult to understand that whatever excuse comes up over the week about the Colts should be accepted in injuries. Cannot be the excuse. It's part of the game. The motivation is to overcome the standard is winning. But we keep rewarding losing, falling apart, losing 7 games straight. In any other field, if that happened in America, no one would retain their job. It only shows how little fans are thought about in Indianapolis as it concerns the Colts. So disappointing. Thank you, Carly, says Justin.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth there, if whatever, take your little job, and if you don't meet, quota for a quarter, whatever, for 9 straight years, you probably aren't getting a 10th. I'd also say this, if you want to make injuries an excuse, and look, there's context to every NFL season. Do I think it needs to be mentioned? Sure. Do I think it needs to be the defining element of this 2025 season? No. I believe I counted yesterday, you had 6 games won by third-string quarterbacks this season in the NFL. 6. You had several of those wins coming against playoff teams or teams in the playoff mix when those games occurred. So just because you get to that point as a franchise doesn't mean all of a sudden, there's no chance in hell that you're getting that win. But my thought would be this. If you want to make injuries as an excuse, you've got 8 years of other evidence. Does that not matter? It's the old debate we've had now for several weeks. Is this a 9-year resume or a 1-year resume? And again, if the 1 year is what you're really, 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 really evaluating, okay, whatever. Tie goes to the runner, I guess. Let's go to the other 8 years. All right, show me the other 8 years. Oh, wait, that's what it looks like? Okay, no, I can't. Sign off on that.
Yeah. How much of it is Carly Ursay-Gordon looks at the trade in which you give away 2 first-round draft picks and the injury to Sauce Gardner and the injury to Daniel Jones and all the other injuries that added up, and she says to herself, I really felt like we were headed somewhere until this all happened. If we bring somebody else in, they're still going to be hamstrung, to your point, James, about not having those 2 first-round picks, and they're going to have to be trying to build up around what is left here. What if at the end of the day, she just decided, you know what? It's a mess. It's going to be a mess for anybody. I'm going to give you guys 1 year to clean up this mess. Maybe you go back to the old, remember when Jim Irsay told Chuck Pagano and Ryan Grigson that they were tied at the hip? Is there something like that in the offing now where Carly Ursay-Gordon looks at both these guys and says, all right, you got 365 days. Get it done or you're both tied to the hip and you're both gone, Kevin. Is that what we're looking at?
That'll be a question to ask later today. Don't know if we'll get an answer with that. But personally, it's hard to look at it as 1 year and to say we'll give you 1 year. It's one more year. Not 1 year. It's one more year. And at this point, what do you have to show for it? I get that Shane is easier to justify in bringing back. But if you had opened the door to moving on from him because you moved on from Chris Ballard, I would welcome that as well because the results just haven't been there for this team. And what I wrote yesterday and published right after the game ended was you can't let your fear of being really bad if you move on from Chris Ballard and the next guy isn't all that good or next woman isn't all that good if you want to go that route either, whoever you choose, because you're convinced that your mediocrity will certainly have an uptick and you'll be really good with this regime. You've had ample sample size to see what this team is about and they fold. So beyond the injuries, I think it's also like a psychological thing because standing in that locker room yesterday and realizing that those players blew another game, blew another lead, blew Riley Leonard's first NFL win because they couldn't get a stop against Davis Mills. And I get Davis Mills went 3-0 earlier this year. It's a very good backup. But, could you do something to at least change the narrative of what we've seen all year? That was truly a movie we've seen over and over again. Not just this year, because that was the question I kept asking in the locker room, Kevin. What happened to collapse not only this year, but repeatedly year after year? And that, to me, is a bigger problem than we got hurt and we lost our last 7 games.
Joe H. Writes in on the text line, first-year season ticket holder. Appreciate you guys. Love the show. Please grill Carly in the press conference. Don't let her off easy. I was hopeful she'd pave her own way, but instead, she's just like her father. Soft, no toughness, no care to win, have no motivation to renew, as it seems us fans care way more about winning than Irsay, Ballard, and Steichen do. And I read Joe's text because it's indicative of a lot of the text that we're getting today, Kevin.
Yeah, that is certainly true. I mean, did the fan poll last week. I think that was quite evident of what fans wanted from a change standpoint. On the Shane Steichen front, I've tried to kind of evaluate each of them individually. One thing I've really struggled with Shane is, offensively, I do think there's a lot of good that he does offer. But 7-22 against teams above 500.
Ouch.
7-22
Ouch.
against teams above 500. And again, we've talked about this one, the Texans and the Jags, 2-10 against those two teams. That includes quite the meaningless win last year in overtime over the Jags in Week 18 when that game had no bearing. So, yeah.
2-10 is horrendous. I don't care who you are, but if you're that and you're against your division opponents, like
horrific.
It's absolutely awful.
Horrific. And, just to further it, Mark, a little bit here, I think we've touched on this. This is now Jacksonville wins the division yesterday. So you have had, since Ballard got hired in 2017, you have had every team in this division win it at least 2 times. And if you look at the general managers that have won the division since Chris Ballard was hired in 2017, you've got 6 of them. Tennessee with John Robinson. Houston has had 2 different general managers. So I guess you could call it, they had 2 rebuilds and got to the top of the mountain in the AFC South. And Jacksonville just won the division with a 3rd general manager since Ballard was hired. So you've had 6 GMs in 9 years when this is spread across 3 teams. This has not been Kansas City in the West or whatever, Buffalo in the East or something along those lines. This is a division.
The old, AFC East with Tom Brady?
Sure. This has been a division that has spread the wealth, and the Colts are the only ones begging for that wealth.
Routinely labeled as the worst division in football, and your head coach is 2-10 against 2 of the 3 rivals in it.
Yeah. Jeff with a G writes in, gentlemen, thanks for waking up every morning and banging your head against the wall, just like the rest of the fan base. Said at the beginning of the year, I was done if Ballard was in charge, and my blood pressure has been so much better this year. They're going to give Jones a contract. He doesn't deserve it. Only 2 of their 8 wins were against teams with a winning record, to your point, Kevin Bowen. They don't beat good football teams. And I think one of the most damning things of all that we haven't even talked about is the horrific record they've put up against Houston and Jacksonville in the division since Shane Steichen took over. They're not good in the division.
Kevin's been hammering that.
He's been hammering that.
That's the only reason I know it. I will cite my sources on that. I've been using that the last couple of days, but I didn't realize that until you asked about it last week, Kevin, right after the loss against the Jaguars. So, yeah, that is not fitting. So I can't take credit for that, but I also don't want to take credit for the fact that they're 2-10 either, because that ain't my record.
James, I know you got to run here in a few. One question that I threw to Joel A. Erickson last week when he joined the show, and I've struggled with in regards to the Irsay family and the operation of their football team. But I get asked it a lot, and I've been asked it a lot since May, frankly. And that is, and I know some people will laugh at this, but it's a question, again, I get a good amount. On the NFL scale of 32 teams, are the Colts falling on the poorer side of that scale? And by that, is there hesitancy from Carly Irsay-Gordon to fire her general manager with 1 year left in his contract, I believe 1 year left.
Yeah, 1 year.
And fire the head coach with, I believe it's 3?
Yeah, he's
3
under
more,
contract
right?
through 2028.
Okay, so I guess 2 more, or 3 more, 26, 27, 28. That obviously is a big financial commitment to make those moves. Now, again, I hear a lot of people out there saying, I don't give 2 bleeps. You own an NFL franchise. Don't jump in this pool if you don't want to,
spend the money.
Right. But it is a question that I get quite a lot. And a lot of people then throw in what happened with the inheritance tax of moving on from, sadly, the passing of Jim Irsay to now the 3 daughters. Are you spreading more of it across now 3 instead of 1, et cetera, et cetera? All of this I get. That question a lot. And was that something that was at play here at all?
We'll continue to talk about all of this. We're going to talk some Indiana football.
I got to give James thoughts here before we run, because I know he's got to go to Colts locker room.
Yeah, real quick.
And I know we got a couple minutes.
Honestly, I would say that's probably an answer she won't, or a question she will not answer, but I do want to know about it, because when you look at, and this is crazy to say, like the rich owners in the NFL, the Irsays are not on that list when it comes to those who are bringing in perhaps more of the billions than they have already in their family name. So it's certainly a factor, I think, but it shouldn't be a huge factor to the point where if you're saying you're all about winning, and Carly Irsay-Gordon said, I'm here for us to be the best, that is our goal, then you can't let those types of things hold you back, because I don't believe necessarily that you can be the best, but also being extremely frugal in any professional sports league. It's not reality. I mean, even if we want to give it like the Indiana land spin, you look at the Hoosiers, they're very good because of Kurt Signetti. They're going to be very good going forward because they put a bunch of money into Kurt Signetti and his regime and changing things there. So if that is a legitimate factor, which, again, I don't think we'll ever get to the bottom of that when it comes to finances, but if that is a determining factor in whether you keep somebody who's been mediocre or not, that to me is an indictment on maybe this franchise really isn't going to get any better.
And just a little bit here from a financial standpoint, just to throw numbers out there.
Yeah.
You know, if we're talking 3 more years for Steichen, let's throw out $18 million you owe him. If we're talking, you know, another year of Ballard, you know, buying him out, whatever, let's say north of $5 million. So you start adding that up, it's north of $20 million to pay guys that you are no longer going to obviously employ, plus all the money you then have to pay.
On the new guys.
New head coach, new offense coordinator.
Yeah. I mean, you can be the Raiders. They fire everybody every year, and they probably owe a ton of money because of that.
And I can hear people saying, I don't give two bleeps. This is the freaking NFL.
I'm in that lane as a fan myself.
But again, that question to me is one that I get a good amount.
I will also point out that as Reds fans, Kevin and I have no idea what you're talking about with frugal teams not winning. What does he mean by that, Kevin? Do we know anything about that?
Never heard of it.
Yeah. James, thanks for being here for the hour. Appreciate it. I know you got to get off and do some work here, but we'll check in with you soon,
Kevin,
buddy.
I'll take one for the team, and I'll ask Kevin, or I'll ask Shane about his 7-22 record against winning teams.
All right.
Thank you, James.
Just come back safely, okay?
Keep my seat warm over there.
We'll continue to take your feedback, and we've got Indiana football to talk about. Scott Dolson coming your way at the top of the 9 o'clock hour right here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Matt Surface, the former Hoosier linebacker. As a former player, this 2 years, this run right now, what's this mean to you?
As a former player, I mean, it just gives you an incredible sense of pride. Have the same colors that you wore on the same field. It warms your heart, and it's so exciting to see, and I'm just excited to ride the wave of positive emotions.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 till 6.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Traffic and body pain can slow you down, but don't let the pain stop you. With just one pill, Aleve provides up to 12 hours of pain relief, so you can keep moving. Use as directed.
When it came to setting them up for a bright future, Indiana Tech did more for these graduates than they ever imagined.
It helped me land my dream job and continue to serve people.
It put me in a position to help others reach their potential.
It gave me the background and the confidence to keep aiming higher.
It gave me a platform to help make a difference for others.
With flexible online classes, personalized support to help you succeed, over 100 high-quality career-focused certificates, and degrees in in-demand fields like business, healthcare, engineering, criminal justice, information technology, cybersecurity, and more.
I earned a Master's of Business Administration and Marketing.
I completed my Bachelor's of Business Administration and my MBA, Master's of Business Administration.
I was able to graduate with my Bachelor's of Science and Computer Engineering.
Isn't it time to see what Indiana Tech can do for you?
There's no better time than now.
Learn more at online.indianatech.edu.
Registration for the next class session ends January 9th.
The Pacers have a full schedule of games in January and some great matchups.
Jackson attacking in on the left side with a left-hand scoop, and he's on the line with a chance for a three-point play.
Catch the Pacers and Cavs in a Central Division showdown Tuesday at 7.
High middle screen Huff, back to Huff from Nembhard. 4 seconds to shoot, 3 seconds to shoot. Nembhard way out on the left edge, beat the clock and hit a three.
Get your tickets at Pacers.com/tickets. Pacers Cavs, Tuesday at 7.
Indiana knows if you're injured in an accident, you hire Hensley, attorneys that fight for the respect you deserve. Call Hensley Legal Group at 888-HENSLEY or visit hirehensley.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
We grow hair Indy. They're the gold standard when it comes to hair restoration. They're ready to help you out today. And honestly, probably a lot of us could use a little bit of that here in the new year after what we have had to deal with. The gold standard for hair restoration. Northwest side, that's their location. The Pyramids, building number 2 online. WeGoHairIndy.com. For some of you, this might be the first day back in the office for a while. You're probably not going to be fully committed to work. So head online. head to WeGrowHairIndy.com. See the before and after pictures and videos they offer, and know that a free evaluation awaits, a private evaluation awaits by contacting them. Again, it is WeGrowHairIndy.com. And the Northwest Side, building number 2, the gold standard for hair restoration, We Grow Hair Indy.
With Progressive customer service, there are lots of ways to connect with us, so you never have to miss a second of your favorite sport. Because you'd much rather watch a ball go through a net 124 times in 48 minutes when you don't really have to pay attention until the last 2, and then somehow those 2 minutes will take an hour. You don't want to miss all that. Luckily, you can chat with Progressive on our app, online, or over the phone without missing a single one of those times the ball goes through the metal circle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This new year, get started on your next success with University of Maryland Global Campus. Apply by February 11th and get your application fee waived. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid classes, along with more than 135 degrees and certificates in fields like business, cybersecurity, healthcare, and more. Gain the skills you need to achieve your career goals. Get your application fee waived through February 11th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
WIBC HD2, HD3, Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Out of the gun goes Leonard. 3 receivers stacked to the left side. Leonard looks that way. Hitches. Taking a shot wide open downfield. It's Alec Pierce. He's got it. He's going to go. 20, 10. Glides into the end zone. Untouched. He got behind everybody for a touchdown. 3 receivers deployed left. Leonard, shotgun snap. Scanning. Throws right side into the end zone. Has a man. Touchdown. Alec Pierce. You know it. 2 today for Pierce. Deep drop on play action. Leonard loading up again, looking for Pierce. He's got it inside the 5 and is dragged down short of the goal line, down to the 1-yard line. The 3rd bomb today to Alec Pierce.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, contacting an official, offense number 14, a 15-yard penalty. The down will count, 4th down. Number 14 is disqualified.
Wow. 5 seconds to go. Let's see what they can do. Riley Leonard backs the throw. Drives it over the middle. Caught by Josh Downs, 30. Here's a lateral back to Michael Pittman Jr. outside the numbers. Back to Riley Leonard to the 20-yard line. And he just loses the ball. It's available inside the 10. The Texans have it. They're running the other way. And they score a touchdown to the final play of the game.
Yeah, it was frustrating. The last half of the season for sure. That's what it's been. Not finding ways to finish. And we got to work tirelessly to get that fixed. Obviously, we showed signs early in the season that was pretty darn good, and we had some unfortunate circumstances, but that's part of the league. You got to overcome those circumstances, and that's where you have to learn from and grow from. To when you get in those situations, again, you learn from them. Like, hey, here's how we have to win now with the circumstances that we have. But that's not for me to decide. But what I will say is, I love this team. I love this organization. Love the city. Love the fans.
Should I stay or should I go?
Shane Steichen at the very end there. It's the Fan Morning Show, along with Kevin Bone. I'm Jeff Prickard. James Boyd is off to interview many of the Colts players on exit interview day. Mark Dykton is back in the fold again today. I want to touch on something that we heard right there, Kevin Bone, where, you got to learn from things and you got to move on. Does the Colts front office, ownership, do they ever learn from things and move on, or is it just let's do the same thing again and again and again and again?
Yeah, this current state, there's no 2 ways around it. It's an acceptance of mediocrity. And again, calling it that, I would say is probably a compliment. I would say the Ballard era is certainly not been even a mediocre era, if you want to label it.
So we're talking
like
C minus? If you gave him a grade overall, would it be a C minus?
I think that's too high.
D plus?
Sure. Yeah.
Sounds like you're just willing to put the big red F on there and move on.
Sounds like me in college. You're going to have to repeat some courses here, I feel like. You're going to have to do these again.
Hopefully your other courses will lift that boat over there that is sinking. I'll go back to what I said to lead off the show, Jeff. It's as we all get back into work and get back into the big swing of things and New Year's resolution this, New Year's resolution that, we all should make it a goal for ourselves to find us a boss that offers a leash as long as the Irsay family is given to Chris Ballard. It's one of those leashes you see at the mall with those kids just running around on it, which again, after parenting Max Bowen for 3 years, I think I'm a little bit more open-minded to the leash. Have you ever thought about the leash, Mark, for one of your children?
I have not, but there have definitely, Nora especially, she's a spitfire. There's times where I'm like, I would be opposed to this, but I would also consider it at some time.
Used to judge. Now I'm like, should I join?
I think Nora would end up having you on the leash is what would happen.
I'm convinced she would gnaw through it and just get loose anyway.
I like it. But the leash has been certainly long for Chris Ballard and now Shane Steichen. And I'll say what I said at the beginning of the show. For just joining us, thanks for being here on this Monday morning. The season is over for the Colts as many other playoff teams move on in the National Football League. I like Chris Ballard a lot as a person. Everything I do know of him, my interactions with him, they've all been positive. But I don't know what other general manager has this record for this length of time and continues to get chance after chance after chance. It just doesn't seem to be working out here in Indianapolis. As for Shane Steichen, I think he's a terrific coordinator, would be a terrific offensive coordinator. I've never been impressed with him as a head coach. Nothing about him has ever inspired me going, that's my head coach. Even when things were going well at 7-1 this year, I didn't get the sense that he was a great head coach, leader of an organization, leader of men. I think he's terrific offensively. He's got a great offensive mind, does a lot of cool things. But I for the life of me, don't understand, knowing that I like Chris Ballard as a man, I really don't know Shane Steichen at all. I don't understand objectively and from a cold, objective stance why this is going to be run back again. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's a stench of acceptance over there by Eagle Creek off of West 56th Street. That's exactly how I would label it. And, you have organizations that strive for winning, whatever, division titles and playoff games and et cetera, et cetera. I found it very fitting on Sunday, yesterday, the 11-year anniversary of your last home playoff game. It was yet another acceptance of mediocrity. Like, that's the legacy of this Colts era. It's not a winning legacy. It's not striving to win. It's an acceptance of, frankly, bottom quartile, if you want to label it accurately. And that's exactly where you're at right now. And again, Jeff, I probably was a little too fired up, maybe that opening segment when you brought up, this team, whatever, game away.
Today's
from
the day
winning.
to be fired up.
You're saying that opening segment, this team's a game away from winning the game in December. That is not true about this team in 2025. Look at the standings. They missed winning the AFC South by 5 games. 5.
But it was the 6-game collapse that made that.
They missed making the wild card by 3 games. This is not if we just make that one field goal, or, if you get that stop in Seattle. No. This is 5 games from winning the AFC South, 3 games. And again, the Chargers just threw in the towel yesterday, so I don't even know if that's accurate to say 3 games. Maybe it's more 4 games from making a wild card berth. That is a massive gap. Daniel Jones tore his Achilles a month ago. And just to remind everybody, you were out of the playoffs when Daniel Jones went down. Is it difficult to win a football game when you're that dire on the quarterback depth chart? Certainly. I believe you look around the NFL, you had 6 games won by third-string quarterbacks this season. So it's not, unheard of. It's obviously difficult. So that's where, we get to whatever. Shane Steichen's going to talk here in an hour. Carly Gordon at 2:30, Chris Ballard later this week. Do not tell me that this is one game away, one play away, this, that, if the injuries wouldn't have happened. Like, people just act like you just snap your fingers and all of a sudden this team would be hosting a home playoff game coming up on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. It's not true at all.
Yeah, to your point, and also kind of what I was trying to say on that whole thing is, even when you were 8-2, you come out of the bye and you lose at Kansas City in overtime, all right? But after that, you still had 4 divisional games remaining with an 8-3 record, and you lost all 4 of them. 2 to Houston, 2 to Jacksonville. We figured it was going to be tough at Seattle. You figured maybe coming out of the bye, you had a chance to win at home against San Francisco. But when I say that there was an opportunity coming out of that bye, you were 8-2 coming out of the bye, and you had 4 divisional games. And the truth of it is, you can't win divisional games against Houston and Jacksonville. Shane Steichen can't win divisional games against those two football teams. I don't know when this is just, with the snap of a finger, is going to get better all of a sudden. Well, it might have been different if we'd had Daniel Jones. Well, again, Daniel Jones has got a lengthy injury history. And to your point, Kevin, when he went down, they were in the midst of this spiral.
Yeah, and I think that's where I struggled maybe with the immense amount of optimism for 2026. It's, you are banking on the run it back, obviously. You are banking on Daniel Jones, so the most important position in sports, returning from a torn Achilles. We have two torn Achilles in our town. One franchise has opted for 16 months of recovery, the Indiana Pacers. The other one has opted for 10 months of recovery in the Indianapolis Colts. So two pretty different thoughts there with their star player at vital positions to the respective franchises. So again, and as you pointed out very accurately, Daniel Jones has unfortunately never proven himself over 17 weeks on an annual basis, whether that's with his own play or with, unfortunately, the injury history. And then let's go the other side of the ball. You would probably call DeForest Buckner your most important defensive player, certainly one of them. And now you are banking on his return off neck surgery at the age of, 31? Yeah. Those are not injured. Like when Jonathan Taylor had his ankle issue 3 or 4 years ago, you could sit there and say, all right, Taylor's injury history isn't very lengthy. This is not an Achilles. It's not an ACL. It's not neck surgery. We feel like he can get back to being, a high-level running back. Now, it took a couple years, but, and I guess this year is only for 2 months. But obviously, he has shown signs where he was back to being a high-level player. That is not a torn Achilles in less than a year at the most important position in sports. That is not neck surgery of a 31-year-old defensive lineman who is, clanging and banging on every single snap. That's where I struggle for the immense amount of optimism. And as much as we might sit here, or they is probably the better word to use, at West 56th Street and preach the injuries, optimism, run it back, what are they saying in Kansas City about their quarterback right now? What are they saying in Cincinnati about their quarterback right now? What are they saying in Baltimore about their quarterback right now? Burrow, Mahomes, Jackson. None of the three in the postseason. You don't think there's going to be...
And the Chiefs weren't headed to the postseason before Mahomes got hurt.
Right, but just to be clear here, you don't think there's going to be optimism with those three franchises and those three quarterbacks about saying, hey, that was our one bad year of quarterback luck, if you want to label it that. Those are three dudes that have won MVPs, played in Super Bowls, won Super Bowls. Yeah. Like, I don't know how better to define it. So just thinking that you'll snap your fingers and boom, you're going to be doing something you haven't done in 5 years, 8 years, 11 years, however you want to define it, to me seems ludicrous.
I also think you're putting a lot of hopes and prayers in that Daniel Jones will be ready for training camp, that he will be fully recovered and rehabbed from his torn Achilles and fibula. I mean, that just seems very lofty in my eyes, that you're banking on that being the case.
Well, and my question too, Mark, would be this. Let's just say Daniel Jones misses the month of September, okay? October's when he's back. Now, I think we can get into this debate more as the offseason moves along. I think there's two Daniel Jones questions. One, when can he play again? B, when can he actually move again?
Mm-hmm. Guess that's a big part of his game.
He needs to move to play quarterback.
That's one of his better qualities.
Exactly. He was at his best this season when he was able to move. And then once the limitations started to creep in, we saw not anywhere near the same quarterback play. So, again, let's just say he misses 4 games in September. Let's say you go 1-3 in those 4 games. Now, all of a sudden, you're putting immense amount of pressure on Jones over the final 12 or 13 games to go something, 10-3, 10-4, whatever the math says. And what happens if we get to the end of the season and we're talking about another 8 or 9 win football team? Now, what are you doing? Are you saying, you know what? It's 8-9 for the 4th straight year in a row. By golly, we're going to run this back one more time. Chris Ballard, here's a contract extension.
We should take pictures of everybody so a year from now, when we're doing the same show, we all wear the same clothes. And it'll be just like we're in a time warp.
It's so true. We could just run it back. Mark, you could have probably just played it on repeat last year from Black Monday.
Yeah, where's your open from a year ago?
I should find it. I will actually try to dig that up.
What's the most damning to you, Jeff?
That they can't win divisional games.
11 years without a division title. 8 years without a playoff win. 5 years without a playoff appearance.
It starts with the division. You start winning your divisional games. You win your division and maybe even get a home playoff game here and there. And maybe that makes a difference. All I know is when you can't win consistently in your own division, you're not going anywhere in the National Football League. You can't get out of your own neighborhood. You can't get off your own block.
The 5 years without a playoff appearance, just to put some context around that, 29 of 31 teams have made the playoffs since you last have. That would be the Falcons and the Jets, the only two teams to have a longer playoff drought than you. And again, I mentioned this a little bit. One thing the Ballard era benefits from that not other eras do is back in COVID, Jeff, we extended the playoffs by a team.
Mm-hmm.
So it went from 6 to 7. I can't believe I said 6-7 as people are driving to work this morning.
Keep waiting for that to die out. And
Kids are now actively
Somebody
trying to
told
bury
me, Mark,
that,
it's now 41. Have you heard this?
No, I have not.
Yeah.
Kids don't go back to school till tomorrow, so maybe I'll hear that after they get back.
Just good luck on that. When you look at the playoffs expanding, again, not every other era of GMs benefit from that. When the Colts last made the playoffs, it was the first year of the 7th team. They got in because they were the 7th team. And yet here we are over now, 4 straight years, or I guess 5 straight years, and missing the playoffs. And 7 of 16 make it. I mean, I'm no math major. That's pretty close to 50%, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
And yet here are the Colts with the 3rd longest current playoff drought in the entire NFL.
You want to talk about quarterbacks? To me, the most damning thing against Chris Ballard is I think most of us who follow the NFL would agree that the two most important positions, if you took one on each side of the ball, quarterback, clearly, and edge rusher, you've got to be able to create havoc with the other team. That's what you build a defense around, usually is a great edge rusher. He's been over on all those things since Luck retired.
Over, and he's put in a hell of an effort. I mean, quarterback, he opted to go Band-Aid when Andrew Luck shocked the world. He could, they had the 13th overall pick that very next year. We've gone over this a million times. That was the draft with, Burrow and Herbert and Tua and Hurts and Love and all those one of the best, quarterback drafts we've had in a while. And he opted to go Band-Aid. And, that was a choice. To me, the pass rush, the defensive line, as we've said all morning long, that's more of the damning issue if I'm the evaluator of him. If I'm Carly
because the number
Gordon,
of swings he's taken.
Right. I mean, you're talking, I'm trying to think. In his first draft, he spent a 3rd rounder. In his next draft, it was a 2nd rounder. In his next draft, it was a 2nd rounder. Obviously, Kwity Paye's a 1st rounder. Latu 1st rounder. Tuimoloau 2nd rounder. Dio was a 2nd round. I mean, I could go on. And I haven't even gotten into the money. There's been a significant amount of money also invested into that group as well. I believe, and someone have to double check me on this, I believe it is a top 5 money invested group in the entire NFL. And on top of that, that doesn't even go into the draft picks. And I think if you add it up, I want to say it's like 3 first-round picks in that room right now, 3 second-rounders, maybe a couple thirds, and like a couple fourths. I mean, there's no room on the Colts roster that looks like that in terms of how much exact resources you have put into it. So that's the other one that would be really, really damning to me.
Yeah, and when you talk to me about Daniel Jones, they played a very soft schedule those first 8-9 weeks, really until they got to Kansas City. It was a fairly soft schedule. But look at the quarterbacks you're going to have to compete against year in, year out for the next however long, 5-8 years, maybe more. Drake May, who's about to be the league MVP in New England, and looks like the real deal. Josh Allen's not going anywhere. To your point, Burrow and Jackson, they're not going anywhere at this point in time. Trevor Lawrence with Liam Cohen has looked like a completely different quarterback, has he not? He looks like the guy that everybody thought was going to be the big gun coming out of Clemson.
Right.
Obviously, C.J. Stroud has been successful.
Travis Hunter being hurt for a good chunk of the season.
You can debate all you want about whether or not C.J. Stroud's an elite quarterback or not. All I know is Houston wins a lot of football games with him at quarterback, don't they? They win a lot of football games with him at quarterback. Then you take a look at, obviously, Patrick Mahomes is going to be coming back. Herbert's not going anywhere. I have no idea if Bo Nix is a good quarterback or not. I can't make up my mind from drive to drive whether he's a good quarterback or not. But my point is, those are the guys you're going to have to compete against for the next 5 to 8 years. Is Daniel Jones truly the guy you think is going to toe-to-toe, head-to-head with that group of quarterbacks? It's a fair question, is it not?
No, certainly. Certainly. It is on the list of questions, plurally, that you would have right now.
All right, we'll take another gander at the text line coming up in a few minutes here.
I found the open from last year, by the way.
Oh, can you play it coming out?
I'm going to play it on the other side.
I like
it. It's fascinating.
Ooh, I like it. We'll do that. Talk about running it back, Mark.
You're sick, Mark.
Can you find the one from 2 years ago?
I probably could.
We'll just do the rest of the show.
I was actually looking up last week. I was looking up the end of the season letters that the Colts have sent out to announce these. Yesterday we didn't get the letter. We just got a very simple 2-sentence
short statement.
They're back. Carly will talk on Monday. And I said this in the opening hour, and I do mean this in all seriousness. And I think all 32 NFL teams should fall in this boat. I will give credit to Carly Ursay-Gordon for speaking today. Last year we didn't hear from anybody within the family.
I don't know that there was anybody to hear from necessarily last year, given all we know now.
I know Jim Irsay's health from a physical standpoint was certainly, but we heard him speak in the postgame locker room, and spoke. I thought honestly it was one of the best that he had sounded. So whatever, Zoom it, have Carly speak. To me, I think every NFL franchise owes it to their fan base, time, money, all of that is invested from fans. There should be a postmortem for every single NFL team from their ownership.
All right, Mark, let's check it down, and then we'll get to all that good stuff coming up in just a moment.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Well, by now, the Colts lost to the Texans 38-30. So much going on, Kevin. We didn't even talk about that last attempted kickoff lateral thing that ended up with a touchdown for the Texans that pretty much was the season in microcosm.
Yes.
Right?
The exact way to sum it up.
38-30 was the loss. They announced after the game that they'll be keeping Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen. They go 8-9 on the season, missed the playoffs again. Some brightness. Riley Leonard, 21 of 34, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, had a rushing touchdown, showed glimpses of what he might be capable of, but also showed some of the limitations as well. But I thought he was way down the list of problems for the Colts yesterday. I thought he played okay.
No, I thought he played better than okay, to be honest with you, especially in the first half there when Houston's starting defense was in the game. The second and the third level throws, Jeff, that's the question coming out of Notre Dame is, can you consistently deliver from the pocket? We know he can make plays with his legs. He showed that yesterday. It's more of when they cut off those legs, can you deliver? And I thought, some of the touch he had on the second level stuff, and obviously the deep balls that you saw, all in all, he's got stuff to work on, just kind of knowing when enough is enough when he is in the pocket. But I was very impressed by Riley Leonard. So kudos to him. I thought he offered a higher ceiling than Phillip Rivers. That was the move I would have gone with a month ago. I don't know if the record would have overwhelmingly be different than 0-3, but I think that ceiling was something that you needed because you put way too much pressure on your other cracking areas of your football team by playing Rivers.
Yeah, Texans sold out on the run. They stopped Jonathan Taylor for the most part. He had 14 carries, 26 yards. But Alec Pierce continuing to show, in my opinion, he is absolutely a number one wide receiver, should be paid as such, and retained 4 catches, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's either behind the defense all the time or winning contested catches. That's what he does, both. One of the two, he either gets behind you or he'll just win the contested catch.
Did I have more contact with the opposite sex at the 8th grade dance at Clay Junior High, or did Alec Pierce have more contact with that official yesterday?
I would say neither for both, and still he got thrown out of a game.
Yeah. That was one of the tweets that I saw yesterday that made me belly laugh, was when I read your tweet. That was quite funny.
Thank you for that.
All right.
The ref, I'd argue the ref might have initiated it. When Pierce turned to explain it, hell, there was more contact when Pierce shook his hand leaving the field.
Colts will speak to the media in the form of Carly Ursay-Gordon at 2:30 this afternoon. You'll hear it live right here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. There has been one front office and coaching move made already. The Falcons have fired Raheem Morris as head coach and their general manager, Terry Fontenot, despite the fact that they won their last 4 games to finish the season, and the players were vocally in favor of keeping those guys around. So, Arthur Blank, again, regime change. He doesn't have any problems making changes down there in Atlanta.
So Raheem Morris, I believe, the runner-up to Shane Steichen here. So that was, 8-9 for 2 seasons, and he's gone?
Yep.
We have Matt Ryan.
Is that what they're going to be saying in Atlanta?
That's how they're going to introduce Matt Ryan at the press
rumor.
conference.
Didn't we say that at one point in time?
Yeah, that's the rumor.
All right, NBA last night. Pacers lost to Orlando 135-127 is actually in the afternoon, but they've now lost 12 in a row. Benedict Mathurin now is going to miss a little bit of time with a thumb injury that apparently he's been battling through for a while, Kevin.
Yeah, obviously had a toe injury. Sidelined him, and certainly his efficiency has struggled here recently. 12 in a row. And yesterday, I mean, boy, they had some chances there. A couple 50-50 balls I thought they could have gotten there in the fourth quarter, but a huge run by Orlando in the second quarter. Boy, they have been stuck on that. I mean, we asked Rick Carlisle about 999 wins like 3 weeks ago, and now here they are still stuck on it.
If you had to look at reactions, and I don't know why I just thought of this, you more concerned with the reaction of Alec Pierce bumping an NFL official or Micah Shrewsbury absolutely losing his mind Saturday afternoon?
I've got about 5 minutes on
evening.
Micah Shrewsbury. I don't think the time is today to necessarily, but can I get that off my chest
Yes,
maybe tomorrow?
you can. Absolutely.
And you said afternoon. Jeff, that happened at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, it was late at night. I get my
1 a.m. Wait till you hear me set the scene
lately.
for
It's
how
all
I
the
was
same.
consuming that at 1 a.m. in the morning.
You can tell I'm not sleeping these days because I don't know what time anything is anymore. I'm just happy to be here on time in the morning. Also in basketball yesterday, college hoops, Indiana 90, Washington 80. They acquitted themselves quite well on the boards yesterday, staying pretty even with Washington, who's one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the Big Ten. Lamar Wilkerson had 22 points. Tayton Conaway had 20. Also, Indiana football getting ready for the college football playoff, the semifinal game against Oregon Friday night. But, man, are they cleaning up in the portal right now. A quarterback from TCU, a wide receiver from Michigan State, a safety from Cincinnati, a defensive lineman from your Notre Dame Fighting Irish, a Boston College running back named Turbo, which I love, and a Kansas State edge rusher that everybody wanted, Toby Osunsami. Wow, they are really continuing this momentum, Kevin Bowen.
Yeah, and the thing about Kurt Cignetti, like sometimes you see this portal stuff, I'm nervous to jump to portal conclusions. I don't know, maybe if that's the Mike Woodson scarring me in that, but if Kurt Cignetti told me today, if he just showed up outside of our studio right now and looked at me and goes, you can finish top 10 of the Boston Marathon in a few months.
You're ready to go.
I'd be like, hell yeah, I can.
Kevin's running a 2:08 all of a sudden.
Can you train me? Like Cignetti, like anything he touches just turns to gold. So yeah, Josh Burnham at Notre Dame will probably turn into a first-team All-American here. But yeah, money and legit coaching, that can go a long way. And they obviously have a legit coach, and they certainly have the money. So yeah, they're building. And really, I'm not. We can get more into this as the week moves along. Scott Dolson will join us at 9. I'm not that worried about Oregon. You know, I thought they'd control Alabama. Obviously, didn't think 38-3, but I thought it'd be pretty much a breeze. And a lot of people point back to, it's tough to beat a team twice. I mean, I look back at that game and thought Indiana didn't even play their best. Bunch of penalties in that game. Charlie Becker hadn't even really emerged yet. I think Indiana wins, and I think they cover coming up on Friday.
Braden Smith breaks a record in the Big Ten. He's now the all-time assists leader as the Purdue Boilermakers got a win over Wisconsin this past weekend. So that's what's happening in the world of sports. Coming up in a moment, more of your feedback, more on Running It Back here at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Sometimes weather and body pain can slow you down. But don't let the pain stop you. With just one pill, Aleve provides up to 12 hours of pain relief, so you can keep moving. Use as directed.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin.
Looking for fun the whole family will love? Head to Royal Pin Entertainment, Indy's home for non-stop fun. Bowl your heart out with family and friends on the modern lanes. Challenge your friends to an epic battle of laser tag or a more casual round of mini golf. Dive into the expansive arcade filled with classic and cutting-edge games. Royal Pin has something for everyone. Kids stay entertained, parents kick back in style, and everyone leaves smiling. With multiple locations around Indianapolis, your next family night out is closer than you think. Plan your visit at royalpin.com.
Set 'em up, knock 'em down, send them flying, spinning round.
Royal Pin Entertainment, where Indy comes to play.
Royal Pin. Bowling, bowling. Royal Pin.
It's JMV for Indiana's Best. My friend Eric Wilson and Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st and State Road 37. It's in Fishers. Check it out right now. The GMC Acadia, good for you, the family, and the friends of the family. Inventory, car buying experience. Service after the sale, the absolute best. It's one-stop shopping. Ask for Eric Wilson and head to Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st and State Road 37 in Fishers.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HAWK to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HAWK to 321-321. That's HAWK to 321-321. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Out on the course, they're the PGA Tour's best players. But in the arena, they're prime time. And Season 2 of TGL presented by SoFi is back with lights, cameras, action. We're talking big moments, big personalities, big names in the stands, all on the big screen. Big-time matchups with shot clocks, hammer drops, timeouts, overtime, and playoffs. It's city versus city, squad versus squad. The sport just hits different under the lights. It's TGL presented by SoFi. Keep up. It's golf. Tune into every match. Only on ESPN.
Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the weather first, before wearing face paint to the game.
Bro, your Go Cats is dripping into your nachos.
Oh, and now paint is in my eyes.
Interception! Did you see that?
No! Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first and see what you could save. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Potential savings vary, including based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for indie sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things indie sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for indie sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to The Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
I just want to replay and run it back.
I've always had a strong belief in myself and those around me. Strong belief in what we do.
You know, I don't know specifically with Chris Ballard's situation because he's very close with Jim Irsay, and, you know, maybe it's a little different, but, you know, it's not something that all GMs would survive.
Chris was highly sought after when he came here. It was a great indication to this organization that he wanted to come here because he could have gone anywhere he wanted. You know, he's been executive the year before, and you guys can try to diminish him all you want, but that's just your words. They have no substance to it because there's no truth in it. I mean, the guy's a winner, and he's been immensely successful. You know, no one's perfect in this game. We all lose a lot in this league. You know how many shots Michael Jordan's missed? You know how many games Michael Jordan's lost?
But I still have a very strong belief in what we're doing, how we're doing it, and how we're going to get there.
I don't know how to make sausage. I don't know what goes into sausage.
It's been a lot of years. It hasn't been a lot of playoff wins. And if the quarterback turns out to be not good enough and they have another year of not making the playoffs, like most teams would make changes.
In the land of gambling, gamble, gamble, gamble. Y'all have been kicking the out of me for years.
In the upper quartile of winners, we're in the top quartile of that upper quartile. That's rare air.
I mean, Bowen ought to at least be freaking happy for once.
Well, I say we end with this. You guys can follow me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hold on. We will.
just want to replay and run it back.
That was roughly 1 year ago, the Monday after the final regular season game when the Colts again missed out on the playoffs. And I'm just curious, with all due respect to a man I admire greatly in the late, great Jim Irsay, there's some Colts-colored glasses he's looking through to say that the Colts are in the upper quartile of the upper quartile for winning in the National Football League. Not in the last decade, Kevin. I don't care what metric you use. What metric can you use to possibly even rationalize that?
No, I guess the first 2 months of this season. That would be it's Mark, just to reiterate for our audience out there that are just joining us, that was the intro you made on this Monday last year?
Yes. Timestamp of, let's see what this says, January 2025. Yeah, January 6, 2025. So literally a year ago.
364 days ago.
I think last year we got the letter about 8 or 9 p.m. last night. Yesterday we got word a little bit earlier. I had a feeling when the Colts started rapid firing their social media tweets. Thank you, fans. 2026 opponents. As soon as the game ended, I'm like, oh boy.
Those are saved in the drafts. Those have those ready to go usually.
Yeah, they are ready to move on. You could run. You could run this show back from last Monday. And, I don't know, Jeff, I found myself, and this is not good, but I found myself a little bit numb to it. A little bit it's not, I shouldn't be apathetic, my job and our job is to entertain here from 7 to 10, Monday through Friday. But I just expected the Colts to do this. People ask me, hey, were you surprised? I'm like, no, this is typical Colts. It's not a culture of winning right now. It's a culture of accepting mediocrity. And accepting mediocrity, again, would be a compliment to this era. If you want to use the phrase upper quartile, again, do you want me to read off the AFC finishes? You can define it in so many different ways. 11-8-5 are the three big ones for me. 11 years without a division title. I believe it's 25 teams have won a division title since you last have. 8 years without a playoff win. I believe that's 22 teams have won a playoff game since you last have. I think 4 can add to it in this playoff cycle. And then the last one is 5 years without a playoff appearance, and that is 29 teams have made the playoffs since you last have. But if you just want to go finishes in the conference, again, there's 16 teams in the AFC. Under Chris Ballard, your finishes are this: 13th, 6th, 10th, 7th, 8th, 15th, 9th, 9th, 8th, 8th.
That's as middle of the road as it gets.
Well, yeah, that's a compliment to middle of the road. That's not middle of the road. That is average to below average. That is not, you haven't finished top 5 in 9 years, let alone, better than average here.
No, I'm just saying your average is right around the middle of 16 teams, but that's not good enough.
Yeah, it just...
it doesn't get you anywhere. They never go anywhere. They're stuck in the mud. Go to the fan text line again, and Scott writes in, I was 14 when the Colts moved here. I've been a fan since then. I sat through a 1-15 season and a season that started 0-13. These last 9 years have been the worst years for me being a Colts fan. I just hope James and Kevin really grill Carly and Ballard. We all know the other media in Indy won't, since they kiss up to the Colts. Saw Greg Doyle today saying, it's the right move. If this is Ballard's last chance. How do you define that? What happens if they go? What if they lose out again in the last week of the season next year and their record is 10-7, and so they've improved on their regular season record, but they don't get into the postseason? Then what do you do? Are you having the same conversation all over again, Kevin?
Hey, they probably move the Manning statue and build a Ballard one.
That's harsh.
They at least hang a banner, at least 10 years of service. We do that.
Harsh, but would you be surprised? Again, the Ballard leash. He's
going in the Ring of Honor, right? At some point.
It is insane how long it is. Truly is. How long this leash is. And that's why I asked James that question right before he headed up there to locker room cleanout. And I'll ask you it, Jeff. And I don't know, maybe you get this question a lot, but I do get it from people. Are the Colts NFL poor?
I get it from a lot of people.
And is that at play at all here in this decision.
Go over the numbers again, should they make a decision.
So again, these are just, I'm throwing numbers at the wall here. These are not concrete numbers by any means, but with Chris Ballard having one more year left in his contract, I believe Shane Steichen has 3 more. If you were to fire them, obviously you still have to pay them. Then you're hiring a totally new regime, GM, front office staff, head coach, coaching staff, et cetera, et cetera. You add up all of that, it's probably north of a $30 million decision to do the firing and do the hiring. And is that a factor in any of this? Inheritance tax, selling of a lot of Jim Irsay's
personal property
stuff, I guess, for lack of a better term. I don't know, spreading the wealth across now, kind of 3.
We don't know, but it's a legit question.
Right, and it's a question, again, I get a lot from people, and how much of that is at play here. And I can hear people screaming in their car right now saying, I don't give 2 bleeps. It's the National Frickin' Football League. Either you pull your chair up at the table or you get the hell out of the room. That's how people would view it. But haven't we seen this franchise be a little hesitant in free agency? Haven't we seen them spend their money a little differently when it comes to whatever, how much cash they present in these contracts when it comes to free agency? Is that at play here at all when it comes to their current state of the franchise? That is a question that I do have.
And they have not been hamstrung at all by some huge contract to a perceived franchise quarterback during this whole time either.
Right, and obviously,
which hurts other teams sometimes. Your quarterback gets so good and makes so much money, it's hard to fill other positions.
Right, which again, that to me is almost a different conversation. That is a little bit more salary cap accounting.
Right.
That is a little different than where I'm going with this one. So it's just there are other owners, whether it's the Waltons or whether it's whoever. There are other owners, Stan Kroenke, I guess that's the same thing, but they're rich. Really, really rich. And when it comes to the 32 NFL franchises, where are the Colts on the rich scale? And is that at play here? It's a question that I don't know, but it's one I've got.
Cody writes in, why does it feel like Chris Ballard owns the Colts? It has to be the bond that was built as Ballard helped them navigate both personally and professionally the addiction struggles and death of their father. He can't build a winner, but he seems really respected around the league still. They likely leaned on him in a lot of ways outside of his typical GM role, and they feel obligated to honor the last year of his contract at least? ? Fans and even some media often forget the human element in sports. It often outweighs logic. It's a business, but one built on relationships as much as winning. And I do know that Jim Irsay loved him some Chris Ballard. I can only assume that goes to the rest of the family as well.
Yeah, to me, the bottom line business ultimately outweighs it because there's a dollars and cents that it's hurting your franchise bottom line right now. Again, 11 years without a home playoff game. You don't think that is hurting the pockets over at West 56th Street? You don't think, their first Monday Night Football game in 3 years? You don't think that is hurting the pockets of it? I would assume that is. We did it a few weeks ago, Jeff, where we went over all the things that have happened in this city, whether that's Lucas Oil Stadium. Indiana basketball, you would consider them to be a disappointment over the last decade, right? Mm-hmm. They've won multiple NCAA tournament games since the Colts last hosted a home playoff game. I mean, that would be stunning to probably a lot of people here, no matter how you slice it, whatever franchise, whatever college football, basketball, hell, Purdue football made the Big Ten title game more recently than the Colts made the playoffs. Not hosted a home playoff game, made the playoffs. So to me, when I would see that, especially experiencing that Pacer run last year, I was really curious, from a human element, if you want to play that card, and again, if you're the Irsay daughters and you watch your kids experience that run, their friends experience that run, you're attending those games, you're in those atmospheres, you're seeing how the city, Jeff, they're on cloud 9 there for 2 months, with that run.
They probably felt that way when they were 7-1.
And yet to continue to accept what that resume has looked like.
Last thing before we break here, on top of the hour, Scott Dolson from Indiana is going to stop by. Verlin from Greenfield writes, look at the bright side. Finally found our kicker.
How about Blake Grupe's tackle attempt yesterday?
Ian Eagle.
I thought he was in concussion protocol.
Ian Eagle was worried for him, I think.
Are we having a kicking competition?
Definitely.
Camp?
Why not? Until Spencer Schrader gets healthy, might as well have Blake Groupie out there.
Let's run that back. Yeah, let's do that.
That's a quality kicker competition. And I say that in all seriousness. That's a quality kicker competition. That might be the biggest goal. Name me the goals the Colts accomplished this year. They ended their week 1 streak, and they found 2 kickers.
Yeah, they brought Philip Rivers back from retirement.
No, they did do
They
that.
created a great Hallmark
They
movie.
punted his Hall of Fame speech down 5 years.
So we got 3 things accomplished. Week 1 drought is over, 2 quality kickers, and a Hallmark movie.
And a win in Berlin. How about 4? Let's chalk it up to 4.
There we go. All right, quick timeout. We'll take some more of your feedback. You can still call us up the old-fashioned way if you'd like, 239-1070. Text line getting very popular these days. You can also text us there at 239-1070. It's the Fan Morning Show with KB and Jeff. James is over at Colts camp right now, getting ready to talk to the players. We'll tell you all about it next. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year, courtesy of Zero Res Indy. Zero Resified, it is that time of year. Start your freshest year yet, clean 2025, right out of your home. 3 rooms starting at $119, plus a free hallway. Take 15% off regularly priced services, air ducts, upholstery, area rugs, tile, hardwood, and more. And Lord knows the Bowen family needs it, with plenty of spills on that carpet. Visit ZeroResIndy.com or call 317-388-5141. Tell them the Fan sent you.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast, local service and a 96% customer satisfaction rating, the highest in the industry, it's no wonder. Here are real stories, real results from satisfied Window Nation customers.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Our Window Nation consultant, Daniel, was a 10 out of 10. They would not give up until they designed windows with safe, pure, and efficient material. Window Nation is amazing, legit, and affordable.
Window Nation's highly durable, energy-efficient, customizable windows are built to last a lifetime. Right now, get 4 windows free with every 4 you buy, plus no interest for 2 years. But hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a fast in-home free estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION. 866-90-NATION.
Indiana Tech gave these grads more than just a degree. It gave them a future.
I earned a master's degree in organizational leadership and the opportunity to serve others.
I earned a degree that helped me get promoted at a great company and become the first college graduate in my family.
I earned an engineering degree that taught me to succeed in technical roles and in life.
I got the chance to work for a professional sports team with a winning experience thanks to flexible online classes.
With personalized support to help you succeed, over 100 high-quality career-focused certificates and degrees in in-demand fields like business, healthcare, criminal justice, information technology, cybersecurity, and more. Indiana Tech doesn't just give you a degree, it gives you the opportunity of a lifetime. Learn more about what Indiana Tech can do for your future at online.indianatech.edu.
Registration for the next class session ends January 9th.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
A Progressive Home and Auto Bundle can protect you round the clock, but we can't protect you from those painful moments in sports.
Oh, I can't believe we blew a 5-touchdown lead.
Sure, but you got to feel like they were going to win for almost the entire game.
But I was about to buy playoff tickets.
So you were prepared for a good time. That's pretty nice.
It's the worst loss any team has ever had.
And you got to witness history.
Okay, we're done here.
Well, at least your home and auto are protected with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ETHOS.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
107.5 The Fan and Franciscan Health present Good for the Heart Fridays. Listen to Jake Query every Friday to hear a heartwarming story from our local community. Jake knows firsthand the importance of heart health. Jake and The Fan have teamed up with Franciscan Health to make a difference, one beat at a time. Good for the Heart Fridays, brought to you by Franciscan Health Heart Center. Learn proactive measures to keep your heart healthy and schedule your heart scan at franciscanhealth.org/screening bundles.
The Butler Bulldogs play host to the St. John's Red Storm tomorrow evening at 6:30 on FM 92.7 Fuego.
Upside down, boy, you turn me.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Boy, you turn me.
Mark, I kind of thought we'd get the 2023 and 2024 run backs there. I know how good you are and how precise you are. You're having it's tough. I can't hear you right now, bud.
Not good. I was going to say, I don't know if I want to give anybody, audio purgatory with how deep I can go in this sadness of suck that has been this time period of Colts history.
You're certainly fine enough to blackmail me over the years.
Well,
so.
That's true, Kevin. You've been a good boy today so far.
Wow.
Shane Steichen, 7-22 against teams above 500.
Say that again.
7-22 against teams above 500.
What do we even say about
If you want to look a little deeper into that, I believe like half or close to half, I guess it's 7. So I think like 3 of those wins are in the month of September as well, which I think you can get a little wonky there in kind of defining, who truly is whatever quality. But 7-22 against teams above 500.
Again, I don't even know what to say to that. Again, I say this. I said it at the very beginning of the show. I said it the last hour. I'll say it again today. I really like Chris Ballard as a human being. I like him. I root for him. As a person, I root for him. But professionally, there's been hits. There's no question. He's done some good things. But for the most part, you've missed on the 2 most important aspects in the National Football League. You've not been able to find a consistent difference-making quarterback. And you, despite all of the investment and the many, many swings at it, you cannot find enough defensive pressure to ever make a difference in a football game.
Yeah, I would chalk it up to how I felt about Matt Nagy with the Bears. He could be a great neighbor. I would love to have him as my neighbor, have a beer with him. I don't want him to be my football coach. I don't want that anymore.
And I think Shane Steichen's probably a fantastic offensive coordinator. I don't see him as a head coach.
Let's crack a beer. Let's talk lawn care. I don't want to be breaking down X's and O's of your scheme on Sundays.
Yeah, Jeff, I go back to one of you and James's first shows back with us, in February at the Combine when we had Chris on, and, we posed the question to him of why do you feel like you're getting a 9th year? Or what do you feel like your greatest accomplishment is as a GM? And you hear those answers, and I don't know, Mark, while you're digging through the audio, maybe at some point this week we should go back and play those answers. Those answers I thought were just really eye-opening. In just the explanation of, basically Jim Irsay committed to a rebuild back in 2023. Well, now here we are going, 4 years into the rebuild, and the core of that rebuild, Anthony Richardson, looks like a bust. That, to me, is really hard to justify. Really hard to justify. And I'm going to go back to that Joe Flacco quote that I read to start off the show, but I think it's worth mentioning again. At the end of last season, Flacco, obviously here, was asked about how close the Colts are. And it was funny, if I remember correctly, I believe the question was asked kind of in a leading way, trying to say, hey, you guys are really close. I mean, look at it, 8-9. And, your playoff hopes, I guess they ended in New York, I think, 2 weeks earlier. And the division hopes ended in Denver maybe a few weeks before that. So I don't know how close they were. But nonetheless, the question was asked, hey, you guys are right there. And Flacco said this. He goes, and I quote, when you're 8-9, there's probably a ton of spots where you could look and convince yourself that we're almost there. I don't necessarily think that's the right mindset. I don't think we should be trying to trick ourselves into thinking we're almost there. I think we should acknowledge, yeah, we are almost there, but we're not there. I think when you acknowledge that, you free yourself up to get better and take the next step. That quote, very similar to Pascal Siakam when the Pacers got to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 years ago. Those are past Super Bowl NBA champions coming from different cultures into this city, those franchises, that had recently been on runs of losing. And I think both those words are very profound. Face reality, don't run and hide and be stubborn, embrace change. That, to me, those are very healthy things. Like, I hear all this, well, the grass isn't always greener. I'd argue the grass is pretty damn brown right now.
Pretty
11
stale.
years without a division title? 8 years without a playoff win? 5 years without a playoff appearance?
Those are weeds popping up in the cracks of the sidewalk.
If that ain't Kevin Bowen's lawn on July 8th, I don't know what it is. That's a brown-looking lawn. Sometimes taking a healthy step back, ask the Pacers. You don't think taking a step back all of a sudden benefited them in making a run to Game 7?
I will point out your patience got you an incredible wife and family, though, right? Despite the middle school and high school dating issues, you ended up pretty well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'll nod my head and I guess agreement on that.
Right. Coming up in a moment, we'll switch gears for a moment. We'll talk IU football and IU basketball. Scott Dolson is the athletic director for Indiana University. He joins us next at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Query and Company.
Shane Steichen said it.
Thought our guys played hard today and fought like crazy.
You know what's crazy? Expecting different results from doing the same thing over and over. I have nothing against Chris Ballard personally, but he's had plenty of time, plenty of it. And now here we are once again sitting there on the sidelines watching the playoffs. Bottom line for the Indianapolis Colts. Got to start looking for different results and doing it under different guidance.
Query and Company, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Plumbing problems stink. The LD Smith Crew can handle anything. Call today for $50 off any plumbing repair, big or small.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
Guys and ladies, you made New Year's resolutions to get back in shape. Want real results in 2026? Go to Synergenics and Low T Center for a free men's TRT test and $200 off the women's hormone test. Book at getmyhealthfix.com now.
Is the water your family drinks and uses truly high quality? If you've noticed a bad taste, a musty odor, rust stains, or hard water, call C&J Water. C&J is offering a free water analysis to ensure your water is the best it can be. A C&J expert will visit your home at a time that works for you to analyze your city or well water and answer any questions. The visit only takes about 30 to 45 minutes. Schedule your free water analysis now. Visit cnjwater.com or call 317-733-SOFT today.
When it comes to restoring your hair and your confidence, picking the right team makes all the difference. And at We Grow Hair Indy, some of the biggest names in sports, radio, entertainment, trust them with their hair restoration. We're talking Olympians, former NFL players, maybe even a radio host or two. They all chose We Grow Hair Indy because the results speak for themselves. And I've talked with people that have had it out of state, out of the country, and oh boy, some of their endorsements, not the most glowing, but I can be glowing about We Grow Hair Indy. They are excellent. I was a little hesitant at first walking into the building, but they are very reassuring. The education I got from Darren Andrews and his staff made my decision for me, and then I went ahead with the Artist Robotic FUE hair procedure. And from your first visit, I think you're going to know why. We Grow Hair Indy's technology is unmatched, and their team has decades of experience and proven results you can actually see. So if you're ready, take control of your hair loss, choose the right team, and schedule your free in-person or virtual evaluation today. That's WeGrowHairIndy.com or call 317-522-2995.
Hi, my name's Robin Fletcher. I've smoked for 46 years. I went to a seminar in March of 27 and seen Mark. My best friend came with me. We both went to it, and neither one of us smoked a cigarette in almost 7.5 months. I took my 3 sisters and my brother-in-law and my sister's best friend, and them went. None of them have smoked a cigarette, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
My name is Jen Carpenter. I went to a Mark Patrick seminar, the Stop Smoking, and it worked. A friend of mine also went, and he still no longer smokes. And it was just amazing.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed. Only $59.99. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all, or your money back. Stop the cravings and stop smoking for good. Stop Smoking Hypnosis begins at 8 p.m. on Thursday, January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville, or at 2 p.m. on Saturday, January 31st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Registration 30 minutes before. Sign up today at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Are you hungry, Indy? Cluster Truck, Indiana's go-to pickup and delivery kitchen, crushes all cravings. Pizza, tacos, salads. If you're craving it, it's probably on the menu. Order now at clustertruck.com and use code BIGFAN, all one word, for $5 off, $25 or more.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
WIBC HD2, HD3, Indianapolis. The Butler Bulldogs play host to the St. John's Red Storm tomorrow evening at 6:30 on FM 92.7 Fuego.
You're listening to The Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Kevin Bowen with all the angst and upset we're displaying over the Indianapolis Colts, their failure to reach the playoffs again, decision to bring everything back and run it back one more time. We'll talk about that all day long. Let's let a little sunshine into the studio, shall we? A little sunshine into the live of sports fans here as Indiana University is 14-0 on the football field right now. They got a big win in conference in basketball yesterday. They are cleaning up in the portal right now. All things good coming out of Bloomington right now, and that's why we thought we'd check in with Scott Dolson, the athletic director for the Hoosiers this morning, and he joins us on the Payless Liquors hotline right now. Good morning, Scott. Things are going okay in your neck of the woods. How much fun are you having right now?
Well, good morning, and thanks for having me on. And yeah, it's been great. Obviously, a lot more work to do, and a lot of stuff going on just every day that keeps us busy. But it's been awesome. Couldn't be better. Our fans have been incredible.
Scott, congrats, and most importantly for us, thank you for the time. I know you're a super busy individual.
So no problem at all.
We really appreciate you hopping on. Obviously, we talked with you after the Oregon game, and now we talk with you before the Oregon game. But let's go back to the Rose Bowl. You mentioned the IU fans. It certainly felt like Memorial Stadium West out there on TV. When you look back on everything that transpired on New Year's Day, what will be maybe your lasting memory of witnessing that game and that experience in such an iconic venue?
Yeah, it'll really be two things. It'll definitely be the bus ride into the game, believe it or not. Yeah, I'll never forget coming in. There are 5 buses, the team buses. It's a big kind of escorted deal. You come in, and so I was on bus 5, and as we pull in, as we're getting close to the stadium, literally IU fans are lined on both sides of the street. And I'm not just talking about just single line, but just deep and just fans running up to the street, just cheering, going crazy. And then as we pulled up to a stop, there were just IU fans everywhere. And Hoosier Nation was just it was crazy. They were just screaming and yelling. And as we got off the buses, it was just a scene that I just will never forget. And I talked to one of our assistant coaches yesterday, and he said the same thing. It really gave us momentum going into the game, just that feel of the fans. And so I'll never forget that. I mean, I've been around for a long time, but just seeing all of our fans, the passion, the support, the energy was unbelievable, really. And just, I can't even adequately describe it. And then during the fourth quarter, I was down on the sideline and just looking up at the stands, and, they played John Mellencamp, Her So Good, and the whole crowd was just singing it, and that just the joy and the emotion out of our fans was. We took over that stadium. I mean, there had to be, we were guessing maybe 60,000 IU fans in the stands, and I don't mean to ramble on it, but I just tell you, I cannot thank our fans enough. I mean, it costs a lot of money. A lot of sacrifices are made to support us, and to be out there and show that type of support was emotional. It was unbelievable.
It's been an emotional time for anybody connected to Indiana football, fans of the program, new fans for the program, you name it. Here's the question I keep thinking, though. You've hired and had to fire coaches over the years. We see it happen at programs every year, all the time. Honestly, when you deep down think about it, what was the moment you said to yourself, Curt Cignetti, this guy's different? There's something different happening here. It's not a hope that I hope he's different. When did you know this guy's different?
Yeah, I think there's just a couple moments, honestly. I mean, I've talked about this before. The first time I talked to him on the phone, we'd done our homework. We had a whole plan put together, and he checked all the boxes. But just talking to him on the phone, I do remember hanging up and calling our president, President Whitten, who's been amazing, and just saying, hey, this guy's different. I just had a feeling. I just really liked him and liked the authenticity about him. And so I definitely remember at that point. And then when this is really interesting, but when we picked him up at the airport, when we named him coach, or everybody knew he was going to be coach, and we had a press conference on that Friday, I flew out early that morning from Bloomington to Virginia to pick him up and his wife, Manette, and a few other staff members. And when we got on the plane, right away he had this list, and he was saying, hey, we need to get a list of, I want all the current coaches that are on the staff right now to rank our players 1 through 50, our returning players 1 through 50. And then I need somebody to take all those rankings and tabulate them together and get an average, so I know what the average rank is of all the returning players. And I remember sitting there as he's going through this list, and it was really calm, but he had this plan. And I remember thinking how smart that was, and just how he absolutely, you say you want to hit the ground running. He had a plan for everything. And I remember thinking on the plane coming back to Bloomington to get off to start that day, the famous day that ended with him on the basketball court, when we introduced him to the fans. But just the plan, I thought, wow, because I've been around a long time and seen a lot of transition. He just had everything lined up in a way that was just super smart. And then I'll say one last thing, and I don't mean to ramble on it, but when we played at UCLA last year, and again, big game for us, kind of his first big game. And I remember during the game, it was back and forth a little bit, and then we just kind of took over towards the end and made some plays. And I remember distinctly thinking in my mind, this is different. I mean, just the way we handled our business, the way we kind of finished that game. So anyway, those are three things that I'd bring up as where I really felt like that this was different.
It's the voice of the athletic director of the number one team in the land. That would be college football, the semifinal coming up in the Peach Bowl on Friday night. Scott Dolson with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. As you started, going back to that day one, if you will, of the Cignetti era, Scott, and you bring up obviously the infamous, scene on the basketball floor. It almost seemed like that was maybe not something on Cignetti's list when he hopped on that plane. Like, over the course of the day, I think he shared the story. He kind of got a little wind of like, oh boy, I need to come in here. And, I've compared it to Will Smith and Hitch. I don't know if that lands totally well, but, I need to make sure that people realize I am a new voice here. I guess what were your reactions when he did take the mic and he did go a little WWE on the entire fan base and really probably the entire college football nation?
Honestly, I liked it. I mean, I liked the fact that he was just putting it out there that it's a new day. And I remember him saying, specifically, I've never taken a backseat to anyone, and I'll plan on start doing it now. And, it was just a pure emotion that was coming out by him. And I tell people this all the time about him, which people kind of roll their eyes. They think I'm just saying it. He's really a humble guy. He's got no ego. He doesn't. And people will be like, no, I see how he is. He's cocky. He's not. He believes he knows how to win. For sure. He's actually, he's shown it. But he basically, he said this during his interview, and everything he said during his interview, he's really been absolutely 100% dead on how he is and what he does. He just loves his family and loves to coach football. And he believes he knows how to win. And he's just very, very authentic. But in terms of like me, just even as athletic director, I've dealt with a lot of coaches, and I've never dealt with anyone any better. I mean, he's just great to work with. He's very, like I said, he's kind of he's just a simple person, to be honest with you. And but I think that back to on the court when he was saying that, he did feel like this kind of, hey, I've got to wake people up here. Do they really want to? I think it frustrated him that it felt like people were saying to him, wow, good luck. You took that job, and it kind of made him mad. And that's when he said to Google me, I win. It was the same thing. He was in the press conference, and people just kept saying, well, how in the world are you going to recruit Indiana? What are you going to do? And he said, I got the same question, 6 times. And finally, it's like, it just frustrated him. Of course we can win here. And so it's great that he was able to convey that and get people's attention that way.
Scott, at almost every step of the way, whether it's the podium of the Rose Bowl, Big Ten title, et cetera, when Curt Cignetti's asked about, whatever, the IU football program, he mentions you, he mentions Pam Whitten and the vision. And if we can talk about Pam Whitten for a second here, when you first met with her, how quickly, Kennesaw State, I don't think people necessarily view that maybe in whatever, mega college football landscape, but how quickly did you realize that from a president point of view, as the landscape of college football was just starting to change, the very early stages, did you realize from her that it was going to be a major investment for you guys as a university?
Yeah, it was honestly, during that really early in that first conversation with her, and it was just so impressive because she, obviously she's got a massive job, and there's so many things that are in so many ways more important than athletics, but at the same time, she gets it and she understands what athletics can do for the overall university, the community. And so right away during that first conversation, she said, hey, we're going to be everything we do. We're going to try to be excellent and go to the highest levels. And that includes football. And, we just started a conversation about what's that look like? What can we do? And she asked me to put together a plan to really get football to a consistent level. And without that, I've said this a lot, and I appreciate you bringing that up because, and she's doing so many things around campus and all of our campuses and really just transformational things for the university. But without that, and her really saying to me, hey, I support that. Let's figure this out. Coach Sig wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be having this conversation. So it does really start with her and her vision. And she just understands, particularly during where we are with college athletics and with conference realignment and all the things going on, it was important that, football is the foundation of the Big Ten. It doesn't mean that we don't care about the other programs, but you have to be strong in football to be a valued member of the Big Ten. So that was super important in a lot of ways. So, yeah, I just can't thank her enough for her support or we would not be here today.
Scott, let's move to the here and now. Obviously getting ready for a semifinal game against Oregon on Friday night. We've talked about that a lot, obviously. But now the transfer portal window has opened. And we want to talk about building the foundation. It's one thing to have a 1 or 2 year run where you win a lot of football games. But all of a sudden, this transfer portal is opening, and Indiana's getting players that used to just go to Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan. Talk to me about the foundation that's being laid here for this football program right now, that it's not just a flash in the pan, that this has got momentum that will carry forward. How do you feel about that, and where's that coming from?
Yeah, I really think it's back to kind of when Coach Sig got here, and he's real process-oriented. I'm process-oriented, and I think we've got the foundation in place for sustained success. And it doesn't mean we think we're the smartest people in the room or we're just being complacent because we've got this figured out. I think it's just a lot of hard work and really sticking to our plan. And the reality is that results are the results, right? And I think that as recruits see players develop, as recruits see the success on the field, when you win, kind of everybody wins. And I think that is really, you feel that momentum building. And it's easy to see it. It's hard to attain it. But we're absolutely paranoid about not losing that and to continue to absolutely work and just try to figure out what's next and look around the corner. And again, we think more about what we need to do than about what we've done. And it all sounds sort of cliche-ish, and I don't mean for that to sound that way, but it's just a lot of work that it really has gone into. So when you see the portal results, that's really just a continuation of what Coach Sig brought here in terms of this is how we run the program. This is what we do. This is how we develop young people. And we still, believe it or not, I had meetings on Saturday with football recruits who were here on their visits, and I talk a ton about the whole picture. We talk about academics. We talk about what we do for the whole person. All those things still matter. And I met with one of the parents who was really just relieved that we don't want this to be transactional. It's not an auction where we're just bringing players in and trying to. If it's a bidding war, then that's not what we're really interested in. We want young men that want to be a part of our program to be developed and to have a transformational experience, and that's what it's really all about here.
Again, that's the voice of Scott Dolson, the IU athletic director, gracious with his time here as things will shift to what I assume will be Memorial Stadium South. I remember being in the Georgia Dome back in 2012 for that Sweet 16 game. There will be a lot of cream and crimson in Atlanta coming up on Friday. But Scott, last one from me, and I apologize if it's kind of a lazy question given your background, but Don Fisher was on our airwaves a couple weeks back, and he mentioned that, when he gets ready to call an IU football game, he has the feeling right now of what he had for so many years calling Bob Knight basketball games of we are going to win. Like as simple as that. So I ask you as, a former manager, of course, of Coach Knight, do you see any similarities between him and Kurt Signetti?
It's a great question, and I think Fish was exactly right, and I definitely do. I definitely do. And one way I would describe it, when I was a manager from 85 to 88, and so one of my best friends was Brian Sloan, who's on the team, and I remember Brian and I talking at one point, and Brian said that in the locker room, and this is us reminiscing about the days, and he said there was never a game ever. It didn't matter who was on the other team and how good they were or where the other team was ranked. He said there was never, ever a game that we didn't feel like we were going to win. We just need to execute the plan. And he always felt like we were going to win. And so I compare that feeling to where we are right now. There's a confidence, and I feel it with our players, and I've felt it really since they got here. It's just amazing that I think they just trust the process. They trust the game plan. And that whole, hey, we're not playing Oregon, we're playing ourselves. We're playing our game plan. It's an execution challenge. We need to execute better than they execute. And that's really what I grew up with and what kind of Coach Knight, how he managed IU basketball. And so it's a great comparison. There's certainly, obviously, they're different sports, but at the same time, I think, great coaching and great preparation is the same regardless of what you're playing. And so I think that's a great comparison. And I think about that a lot. And I think about it with all of our programs and how to develop a winning mentality, a winning program, not just a one-hit wonder with some talent that maybe gets together for 1 year.
Scott, last thing for me, and then we'll let you go, and you have been gracious with your time. We appreciate that. What's your early report card so far on Coach DeVries and how basketball is going?
Yeah, he's been great. He's been a great fit, and that's what we really were looking for. It's really twofold. The basketball is obviously super important in establishing our culture and making certain that what we wanted with the coach when we hired Darren is really someone who could kind of modernize our program, modernize the modern offense that kids want to play with kind of an old school defensive mentality, play hard, character in the locker, a lot of those qualities. But at the same time, Darren has really fit in just in terms of our community, just around the department. He's been a great fit. So I feel like we're building momentum there. And again, just like for football, we want to establish a real foundation for the program to keep building on every year, and really confident in the way that's going. And love working with Darren. And again, he's just been a great fit for us.
Thanks so much, Scott Dolson, Athletic Director, Indiana University. Great to talk to you this morning. Have fun in Atlanta on Friday night. We'll be there with you in spirit.
Well, thank you for having me on. And I'll say again, just thanks so much for Hoosier Nation for their support, because it is that alignment does include our fans as well. It's everybody, all of us together. I do believe, and you could feel it last week in Pasadena, I do think we can do special things, and just all of us kind of pulling together, and our fans have been unbelievable. Just can't thank them enough. So let's keep this thing rolling. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks. Scott Dolson, Athletic Director down at Indiana University. Man, they've been on a roll. Because I also like what DeVries is doing so far. They got a ways to go, obviously, but I like where they're headed.
One thing watching that game last night, offensively, I don't know exactly, what March is going to look like for the basketball team, but I do expect them to pull off some upsets in the Big Ten just purely with that offense. I mean, they have so much firepower. Obviously at Assembly Hall, that always kind of speaks to it. But, as we start to talk more about Friday night and that game against Oregon, again, Jeff, I'll go back to what I said a little earlier in the show. That game, the first meeting out there, I think there are a lot of people who are like, hey, it's hard to beat a team twice. Yeah. Nothing like Kurt Signetti already saying Oregon's got the edge in that department. I didn't think that Oregon all of a sudden, I thought Indiana was the superior football team. And I don't know if the score truly indicated that. I go back to that game, and I think it was the most penalized game of the season for Indiana. I think that road environment, which will not be the case. If anything, Indiana will create more of a road environment for Oregon coming up on Friday night. I think that road environment got to Indiana at times from a penalty standpoint. And again, that was still early in the year where Charlie Becker was not Charlie B from Tennessee. And right now, and you saw it in one of the bigger plays of that Alabama game when it was still in doubt early on that 3rd and 9 there on the first touchdown, having him as your third wideout right now, like Oregon's got some dudes, obviously. Yeah. Oregon's got some corners. And okay, so if Omar Cooper Jr. has a quiet game or whatever, then boom, you've got another guy there. So I'm really confident in Indiana coming up on Friday night. And I do think they benefit from a little bit of the reality of these other playoff teams. Staff retention. What Pam Whitten and Scott Dolson in Indiana has put into making sure their assistants want to stay there cannot be overlooked because their coordinators aren't flirting with anybody else. They're staying there. Where's Oregon's OC? He spent the weekend in Lexington because he's the head football coach at Kentucky worrying about the portal. Where's their defensive coordinator? He spent the weekend at Cal because he's the new Cal Berkeley coach. They're still play calling in their playoff games, but their minds are elsewhere. And if you're a first-time head coach, your mind is racing with the portal. Like, I would be spending more time about, wait a minute, who we getting there versus the play calling
who we getting?
Of a playoff team. I think that is major advantage to Indiana as well on Friday.
Before we check it down, I want to point out one thing about Indiana because I've heard this. Feinbaum was one of these guys. Other people are saying, well, I still don't quite believe in Indiana. This, that, the other thing. I'm just going to point out Indiana is 3-0 against teams that made the college football playoff this year. They have beaten Ohio State, who got in. They have beaten Alabama, who got in. And they've already beaten Oregon, who's gotten in. If they win, they will be 4-0 against teams who made the college football playoff. The other thing I want to point out about the road win at Oregon, where people kind of dismiss that a little bit here, whatever, they won by 10 points in a game that they gave up a pick six, Kevin, on the road.
Well, one thing to point out, too, about those 3 wins, none of them at home.
Yeah.
Bama neutral field, Ohio State neutral field. Now, granted, the Indiana fan base obviously took over Lucas Oil and took over the Rose Bowl, but obviously at Oregon. So adds to it. So, yeah, I like an Indiana-Miami national title game coming up. What is that, Mark? 2 weeks from tonight? Is that right?
Yep.
Sounds about right.
Thank you for getting Scott Dolson, by the way, Mark.
No problem.
Good job out of you. I'm going to keep you for another year. How about that?
Yes. You heard it right. It's on the record. Cannot be stricken.
Mediocrity extending to 56th Street and now downtown Indianapolis.
Stay away from those sins that get you automatically ejected, okay? That's all I'm asking.
I will do that.
All right. Let's check it down.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, we'll be quick so we can get back to your comments on the Colts coming up in a few minutes here. But the Colts lose their season finale to the Texans 38-30 on Sunday. Then shortly after announced that they'll be keeping Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen after yet another season of no playoffs and a losing record, Kevin Bowen.
The acceptance of mediocrity, the stench of acceptance, I guess if you want to label it as that, it continues here. So yeah, no matter how you slice it, while I would disagree, I'm not surprised. This is what we're used to, par for the course with how things have operated there over at West 56th Street. And just to reiterate everything, it is 5 years without a playoff appearance. That's the 3rd longest streak in the entire NFL currently. It's 8 years without a playoff win, and it is 11 years without a division title.
Can I interest you in 3 micro wins from yesterday?
Sure, yeah.
All right, Riley Leonard, I thought was pretty good. 21-34, 270 yards. 2 touchdowns passing, 1 rushing. Did throw the 1 interception. But I thought he looked mobile. I thought his arm not only showed the ability to throw it downfield to Alec Pierce on a couple of occasions, but I thought he had 3 or 4 really nice touch passes yesterday.
Yeah, I would agree. I thought, and again, that right arm delivering consistently from the pocket is probably the biggest question. So, I don't want to throw Brock Purdy label on him, but could he be your guy in September next year for a couple games if Daniel Jones is still rehabbing? Could he be your long-term backup? Like, those are questions that are important. Daniel Jones is a long injury history. So the backup is going to matter a whole lot. We saw it this season. Potentially, could have changed the whole trajectory of things. So, I think Riley Leonard gives you some optimism heading into the offseason in those areas.
Yeah, the second ray of sunshine, Alec Pierce, no doubt about it. He is a number 1 wide receiver in the NFL, is he not? And whether he's getting loose and getting wide open downfield or just making contested catches and coming down with it again and again and again. What is he not doing that any number one does?
Was the ray of sunshine in between him and the official? Or was that not? Was there not enough room for the ray of sunshine?
Sometimes that's all it takes.
At the Catholic schools, do they say make room for Jesus at the dances?
I wonder if
right?
here's my theory. I wonder if that official's moving on to the playoffs and getting in assignments. Maybe he was just angry and took it out on somebody.
Hey, if you're Alec Pierce, start the shower a little earlier and count your money in that shower a little earlier because that man is going to get paid handsomely. And if the Colts have any issues in the open market, you slap that franchise tag on him and you don't think twice about it.
And did the Colts find themselves a 5'9", 145-pound keeper at kicker?
It might be the biggest accomplishment of the Colts season. I say that half kiddingly, half serious. And that is they have 2 quality kickers.
First half and second half, right? Just trot them out.
Keep them fresh.
So that the other team has to game plan for which one.
You don't know if it's the 5'7" or the 6'3" Spencer Schrader.
Did I
Look
give
at that,
him,
Mark.
Did I give him too much height?
By the way, you stopped there. How great was the fake punt?
I liked it.
Brian Mason in his bag.
Good. Yeah.
How about the touch from Rigoberto Sanchez?
Bag of tricks,
punt
week
there.
18. Let's make it happen.
And still couldn't come up with a stop down the stretch when they needed one. That was really the difference in the game yesterday. All right. Also, the Falcons have fired Raheem Morris and general manager Terry Fontenot despite winning 4 straight to finish the season. Pacers lose to Orlando 135-127. Oh, we got breaking news.
The Browns have fired Kevin Stefanski.
Ooh, he gone.
That's a guy I wouldn't mind have seen on a Colts sideline, but they've made decisions already. So
that was also from a team where Myles Garrett set the all-time single-season record for sacks in a year.
So our opening
Picking that one up
currently
yesterday.
Tennessee, the Giants, the Browns, and the Falcons, correct? Those are our 4 right now. We will await the Raiders. We will await potentially Arizona. I know some have mentioned a John Harbaugh, a rumor or 2. So we'll see how Black Monday plays out. Don't know if we'll get as much activity as we have in recent years, though.
If John Harbaugh got fired, maybe they rethink things and hire him here in Indianapolis. I'd take John Harbaugh as a head coach, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would, but there's a better chance, Jeff, I think, of me playing Augusta National tomorrow than the Colts rethinking things.
All right. Pacers lost to Orlando 135-127 yesterday. They've lost 12 games in a row. Benedict Mathurin now out for a time with thumb injury that he's been playing through. They will be home against Cleveland tomorrow night. College basketball yesterday, Indiana over Washington, 90-80. Lamar Wilkerson had 22 points. Tatum Connerway had 20. First time the Hoosiers had played in 2 weeks as they were working on their game there. And also over the weekend, you pointed out, Purdue has a new all-time assist leader in the Big Ten. Braden Smith.
The Big Ten has a new all-time assist leader.
Purdue and the Big Ten.
Braden Smith, the maestro, was at it once again at the Kohl Center. Not many teams controlled the game like Purdue did for large chunks, really the entire 40 minutes. Just damn impressive. Just so fun to watch him. I thought it was kind of fitting the little dump to Oscar Clough there in the lane. That's a pass he's executed to a lot of Purdue big men over the years. So if Purdue can get on another March-April run, there is a chance he could get to Bobby Hurley, which is pretty darn crazy to say. There are some names above him on that list that definitely made me think back. I saw Ed Cota, one of my favorite players from North Carolina growing up. It's on that list. Steve Blake, Gary Payton, a couple spots ahead. So Braden Smith.
Gary Payton Sr.
Gary Payton Sr., yes. Yeah. Braden Smith, unbelievable career, and fun to see him get that on Saturday night.
All right, college football portal has opened up, and Indiana is making inroads, guys. Hoosiers right now in the portal have picked up TCU quarterback Josh Hoover, who put up some tremendous numbers as the Horned Frogs quarterback. Michigan State wide receiver Nick Marsh, Cincinnati safety Jaquan Sanks, Notre Dame defensive lineman Josh Burnham, Boston College running back Turbo Richard, Kansas State edge Toby Osunsanami, and Purdue has also added a couple of junior college All-Americans and a running back from Texas by the name of Jarrett Gibson. So those are some wins in the portal so far.
Can I say I don't love the portal happening right now?
I don't like the portal happening. It should happen
So if you're
after the season's
Alberto
over.
Mendoza, how are you viewing this?
It's disappointing. It's crushing.
Yeah, I don't love it. I get that. Oh, we have to have them enrolled for second semester. Yeah, let's not act like
that's an NCAA problem.
That's a major deal here. So we need to bump everything up. We need to get the college football playoff a little. Yeah, I'd be content with it being done right now before the NFL playoffs start. Then move on from the portal. But I think it's kind of awkward. Kirsty Nutty's answering questions yesterday. Some guys that are going in the portal are going to still practice with us. It's like, damn. If I'm the running back that was up and coming. Now I got a dude named Turbo coming in here. There goes my chance.
That is a great name for a running back, though, is it not?
Is it Turbo on the birth certificate?
I don't know if it's, I'm guessing it's probably not Turbo in the birth certificate. That'd be awesome if it was.
Turbo Dykton over there? Oh my gosh, Brownsburg would be even better than they already are.
That was on the cut list of the names. For the third one.
Unisex, right? I mean, you could go either or, right?
Of course. Absolutely.
Coming up in a moment, more of your feedback and a look ahead to the day for the Indianapolis Colts that will see Carly Ursay-Gordon speak to the media at 2:30. What do you want to hear? What do you think will happen? We'll talk about it next at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Your favorite song shouldn't have to wait for Wi-Fi. Switch to Straight Talk and get real unlimited data on Verizon's 5G network. Straight Talk, available at straighttalk.com or Walmart.
The following is a district-wide service announcement from the District Tap.
The District Tap. Craft beer on tap and damn good food. Wait, hey, can we say that? Damn good food?
Yes, I'm told that damn good food is totally acceptable. Go ahead and pick it up from there.
The District Tap. Craft beer on tap and damn good food. And don't get me started on all the sports at the tap. Over 60 big f***ing screens with as much NFL and collegiate football action as you can handle. Weeknight matchups? Yeah, we have weeknight games. Looking for a spot downtown to catch that game? Get your f***ing ass over to our new downtown location at the corner of Georgia Street and Meridian. Game on at the District Tap. How's that?
Fan-tastic.
The District Tap. Craft beer on tap and damn good food. North at 82nd Street, just east of Keystone at the Crossing, and downtown at the corner of Georgia Street and Meridian. Online at thedistricttap.com.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. 2026 marks our 99th year in business, and we are going to make it the best year yet, and we're starting out with a bang. Now through Monday, we guarantee you the lowest price on every sectional, recliner, mattress, sofas, and more, including Lazy Boy and Tempur-Pedic, plus free delivery, interest-free financing, and cash discounts. Hurry, sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
It's a new year. Ready for a fresh start or career reboot? At My Computer Career, prep for a more recession-resistant future in the high-demand fields of IT, cybersecurity, in months, not years, including AI. Whether you're starting out or switching careers, no prior training is needed. Attend school online from home or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu to take the free career evaluation today. mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HAWK to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HAWK to 321-321. That's HAWK to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football. It's a Pepper thing.
Hey team, Wendy here. If you're looking to consolidate your high-interest credit card debt with a personal loan, take a look at SoFi's stats. A SoFi personal loan comes with low fixed rates, no fees required, and as soon as same-day funding. That looks good on paper, but SoFi also passes the eye test. Having helped its members pay off over $33 billion in debt to date, score. View your rate for a SoFi personal loan at SoFi.com/stats today. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, NA member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply at SoFi.com/stats. NMLS 696899. 888-917-9791.
This is the Fan Morning Show.
What a program. What a turnaround for Indiana football.
Truly, who in your right mind that really watches college football thought to themselves, yeah, but Indiana's still just a fairy tale. This is Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible journey so far. It was a joke when I was in school. I mean, you won a couple games, I'll bring on Alabama. And now you bring on Alabama and you run straight through them.
It's the Fan Morning Show. Weekday mornings on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Good morning. Hope your Monday is going well. It's going pretty well for Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen. They've already been informed that they will be returning in their respective positions to the Indianapolis Colts in 2026. And Carly Ursay-Gordon will be meeting with the media later today at 2:30. You'll be able to hear that live right here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. What's this going to look like, sound like, be like, Kevin Bowen? And you've been around that building for a long time now. I know we're all getting to know Carly Ursay-Gordon a little bit, but what's this afternoon likely going to bring us?
Well, it's a great question. I hate to cop out, but I don't really know. I mean, we haven't heard from Carly Ursay-Gordon in this setting. There's not many times we've heard from really Jim Irsay in this sort of setting. You know, again, last year, Colts released a letter, whatever it was, 4 or 5 paragraphs about them all coming back, and that was it. They didn't follow up with any sort of, press conference announcing all of it. Ballard, I've always said this before, the only Michael Jordan comparison with Ballard is him in a press conference, not him as a GM. Because in a press conference, he'll fall on the sword. He'll be Hollywood-like. It'll be outstanding what he will show in a press conference setting. Much different than, probably Shane Steichen. But, again, this team has got some major questions, even with the run it back. I saw Nathan Brown from the Star reported it's locker room cleanout day. I don't think this is shocking to any of us, but Travaris Ward says he's going to talk with his family about deciding whether he wants to play in 2026. I mean, that's a huge question for next season. So, again, you're running it back, and I would argue 3 of your top 5 most important players, one is debating retirement after 3 concussions in a year, Mooney. 2, DeForest Buckner is coming off neck surgery at the age of 31. And then 3, Daniel Jones plays the most important position in sports. He's coming off a torn Achilles. And I think if you want to get into the nitty-gritty with Jones as a quarterback, his movement is so key to him playing. This is not Phillip Rivers. His movement is vital to him being the type of quarterback we saw early in the season. So again, those are 3 big-time pieces at very important positions, all dealing with their own individual stories. That's not just hey, our guy had a sprained ankle the final couple weeks of the season. He'll be back. He'll be ready to go.
One thing I do want to find out a little bit more from you. Did a really nice job coming off the bench in relief of Daniel Jones the game that he got hurt. Yesterday, in the first half, when the Texans were still playing their starters and they thought, that they needed to win, they pulled everybody when it looked obvious that Jacksonville was going to win. But he played really well against one of the best defenses in the NFL. And I'm just wondering, he's clearly earned more opportunities, and maybe he's earned the opportunity to start until Daniel Jones gets back. But I'm just going to ask this question. What if he plays exactly in the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season next year like he did yesterday? Do you start to say, hey, maybe we got a guy here?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you have these flash in the pan for a game or 2, it's all about, hey, can you string it together when given that opportunity? Again, I'll probably reiterate what I said last segment. I don't want to compare Riley Leonard to Brock Purdy after one game. And, if you obviously watch the full game, there were definitely some things he's got to work on, mainly knowing when enough is enough in the pocket. Those were some very costly turnovers he did have there. But he also, I think, checked the box that is maybe his biggest question mark entering the NFL. Can you consistently deliver from the pocket? That is the question with Leonard, and I would argue he did that more than anything yesterday. Even when the Houston defense was in there, their starting defense was in there because they pulled pretty much all their notables there at halftime. But let's not talk, again, comparing him to Brock Purdy or is he the guy for a second. Let's just talk in a little bit smaller goals. Could he keep the ship afloat in September next year?
Mm-hmm.
Could he be your long-term backup? If he can answer those questions, that's a win. with pick number 189, that is an absolute win. And again, if Daniel Jones is your guy for 2026, 2027, and beyond, you need a capable backup. Daniel Jones, unfortunately, the injury history can't be ignored. So, Leonard has a lot of coveted traits there. Assistant thrower, but there are a lot of traits, the arm, the running ability, the really just kind of the leadership and toughness element to it.
He threw some really nice passes
those
yesterday.
Aren't debated at all. But yeah, I thought, not just the uncorking of the home runs.
No, some nice touch passes.
Yeah, second level, like over the, the first, wave there, the zone. Michael Pittman Jr. had a big drop on one of them. I thought those were some really nice throws.
Yeah. Let's go back to the fan text line, 239-1070. Casey says there's no logical reason to retain Ballard. To his credit, he is a good talent evaluator. However, two significant things that Ballard lacks are the ability to establish organizational culture from top to bottom and the understanding of how to develop players at all positions that they may exceed their basic talent. Over the last 7 years, the only first and second round draft picks to have excelled are Jonathan Taylor and Quentin Nelson. Their best offensive player was developed by another organization, DeForest Buckner. He cried for 5 years about Andrew Luck retiring. He never solved the quarterback issue. It is absolutely foolish to think that Daniel Jones is the answer. He is directly responsible for the fiasco that was Anthony Richardson. All the experts said he was the most underdeveloped first-round quarterback ever and would need 1 or 2 years before he would be ready to take the field. Despite how raw and limited he was and only 21 years old, Ballard forced him on the field over the coach's decision. He was never held accountable for that. Excellent players come out of college every year, but none of them become great NFL players without sustained development. During the Polian era, how many potential Hall of Famers did he have? How many with Ballard? That's KC. I read that because it echoes a lot of the things we're getting from a lot of people on the text line this morning, all in one text that kind of encapsulates what people are feeling.
Mark, I don't know if tomorrow would be best for it or even Wednesday, but I do want to legitimately, and I don't know if there are many out there, many that want to hop on the phone lines, but I would like to hear from someone that is team run it back. In all seriousness.
I haven't seen one on the text line today, have you?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Maybe there's a couple. I don't know, text line or YouTube or wherever. Obviously, there are many, and I think the poll indicated it. I forget what it was, 93%, I believe, of the 4,000 people that voted in the poll I put up there last week wanted some change. So obviously that doesn't leave a whole lot that are right. But again, who wants run it back? And I guess why? And is it just simply due to 2 months? What happened in September and October here?
Yeah, I'm curious too. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there. There's got to be a couple people that are like, yeah, I mean, we looked pretty good as we were healthy, and then injuries took an issue and knocked us off. But those people got to be out there. I think they're being a little quiet today because today's kind of everybody's pissed off and everything like that. But curious to see if they show themselves as the week progresses.
And again, for those that have missed it, James was with us here the first hour of the show. He had to run up to West 56th Street for a locker room clean out. I saw he had a tweet with some more info on Javarius Ward's situation, mentioning that, again, Javarius is debating whether or not he's going to play in 2026. He pointed out, I guess Mooney did in the media scrum, that his dad wants him to retire.
Mm-hmm.
Mooney's been very open, very forthcoming about all of this. Remember when he had the concussion when he ran into Drew Ogletree, he said the symptoms were so bad he considered retirement then, and for those that have done, maybe not as totally plugged into the full Javarius Mooney Ward story, he just the most tragic thing in the world. He lost his daughter at the age of, I think she was right around 1 year old here in the last 18 or 24 months. So, home for him is down more in the New Orleans, Mississippi area. I'm kind of at a loss just to imagine him playing football again, to be totally honest with you. I know he was around the team throughout the last month, even on injured reserve. There are many days I'd be kind of scanning the practice field and see him in his walkthrough jersey. Even though he was on injured reserve, you could tell he still wanted to be a part of it, in that sort of capacity. But that's another big question to this offseason, and we'll put, if he does retire, we'll put even more pressure on, Sauce Gardner in that trade, and obviously Justin Wally coming back from his torn ACL, third-round pick out of Minnesota.
Yeah. All right. Some more of your comments to wrap up the show, and also a look ahead to the rest of the Gordon will speak to the media at 2:30. We'll carry that live here at 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan will wrap up the show with some final thoughts next.
Indiana winters are when serious plumbing problems show up. Frozen pipes, no hot water, backed up drains. Indiana winters deserve a real local Indiana plumber. Hey, it's JMV. At our house, we use LD Smith Plumbing and Drains. Real local people answering your call who live, work, and play here, and they're specialists. All they do is water. Call the company I trust. That's LD Smith Plumbing and Drains, 317-927-7186. Online, ldsmithplumbing.com today.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, 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 Royal Pin.
Looking for fun the whole family will love? Head to Royal Pin Entertainment, Indy's home for non-stop fun. Bowl your heart out with family and friends on the modern lanes. Challenge your friends to an epic battle of laser tag or a more casual round of mini golf. Dive into the expansive arcade filled with classic and cutting-edge games. Royal Pin has something for everyone. Kids stay entertained, parents kick back in style, and everyone leaves smiling. With multiple locations around Indianapolis, your next family night out is closer than you think. Plan your visit at royalpin.com.
Set them up, knock them down, send them flying, spinning round.
Royal Pin Entertainment, where Indy comes to play.
Royal Pin, bowling, bowling, Royal Pin.
Out on the course, they're the PGA Tour's best players. But in the arena, they're prime time. And Season 2 of TGL presented by SoFi is back with lights, cameras, action. We're talking big moments, big personalities, big names in the stands, all on the big screen. Big-time matchups with shot clocks, hammer drops, timeouts, overtime, and playoffs. It's city versus city, squad versus squad. The sport just hits different under the lights. It's TGL presented by SoFi. Keep up. It's golf. Tune into every match. Only on ESPN.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric
Are there any
oxide
good
levels
ones?
in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HAWK to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HAWK to 321-321. That's HAWK to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Guys and ladies, you made New Year's resolutions to get back in shape. Want real results in 2026? Go to Synergenics and Low T Center for a free men's TRT test and $200 off the women's hormone test. Book at GetMyHealthFix.com now.
The Hoosiers play the Oregon Ducks in a college football playoff semifinal. Friday evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Mark, I'm pretty sure that if James Boyd was still here and not over at West 56 right now, he'd be up out of his seat doing that little thing that he does when he gets moving there.
Well, let's hope he's streaming the show on his app and he's doing that anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Champ is looking at him like, what the hell are you doing?
He's in the middle of an interview with one of the players, all of a sudden
Yeah.
he just starts grooving.
Uh-huh.
That'd be awesome. One of the things we do every Monday, and we put it off today because of all the other news that's been going on, Mark Dykton, you ask on social media every week for people to give you their headlines and to send us their headlines from the previous Colts game. Obviously, this one game is mired in the context of the greater story of the Indianapolis Colts. But I'm guessing we still have some winners from yesterday, correct?
I can't read it. There's no words on it.
I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world tonight.
Ripped from the headlines of the newspaper.
We'll do it live.
Post-game headlines.
Thing sucks.
So as I have done all season long, after the game goes final, we would give out, post-game headlines, give 5 words or less, your evaluation. But I did it a little differently yesterday since it is the postseason headlines now. The Colts season is over after a loss to the Texans, a season that started 7-1, ends at 8-9. Lots of twists and turns, if possible. Give your assessment of the season or what you think / want to happen now. Brylan chimed in, said Colts fumble season away, literally, as the way the last play played out there. We had some other ones. Lack of depth, spotty draft selection, said Jack. Apathy, once again setting in, said Billy Slick Willie. Aaron had a GIF that it was a picture of Chris Ballard smiling, said, I lose, Google me. A takeoff of the Kurt Signetti. Jason said,
I've seen that go around a little bit here in the last few weeks.
I've missed that.
Jason said, Lions start, kitten finish. Ryan said, poverty franchise with no hope. Big Glenn said, thank goodness it's over. Mired in mediocrity, said Corey. Why should we carry more, said Jeremy. Clean house and start over, said Mike. Season of suck, said Holly. And Indy Vince, which obviously the news hadn't reached him yet, said Ballard hire a realtor. Is he upgrading his house maybe? Once you cross the threshold of a certain NFL tenure?
I think he's got a pretty good home from everything that I've gathered here.
That's what I've gathered.
What can Carly Ursay-Gordon say today to make fans feel good?
She's just going to have to look at the first 8 weeks of the season and say, I believe that is the true identity of this football team.
That will make fans feel good?
I don't know if that'll make fans feel good, but I don't know what else she can say.
Is there anything she can say? If she came out and said, must win a division title next year, or they're both done, would that make fans feel good?
Is that kind of a variation of when Jim Irsay told Chuck Pagano and Ryan Grigson, you guys are tied at the hip, either get it done or you're both gone?
It's kind of wild, just because Pagano and Grigson didn't get along. That was a big deal. It kind of goes to show you that maybe just I don't know, how you treat people, for lack of a better phrase, I guess can go a long way in this. I guess to answer my own question, I don't know if there's anything, frankly, Carly Ursay-Gordon can say today that would make fans feel whatever. Happy, reassured, calmed. I don't expect her to publicly offer such an ultimatum like that. But, I am interested to hear how she approaches it. I mean, this is, new for her. It's new for us, obviously, listening to her in some sort of setting. But, again, I just not surprised by yesterday. Very typical Colts here in the 2025
This
era.
is a decision that has to have been made on hope, right? I hope that first 8 weeks is exactly who we are.
Yeah, and I guess
hope that I have the right guys.
How much will she reference the trade, for Sauce Gardner in that move?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Don't you think it also would be it just depends on how she reacts to some of the more pointed questions, like why again, why this and that? She's been on the sidelines. Obviously, she sees and knows everything that's going on in that building and how that team is run. Do you think if she gets a little more pushy's not the right word, but if she gets a little more this is why this is if there's a direction and at least she's got some you're seeing her, point this is why I made this decision going forward. This is why I think this is what's best for the Colts franchise. They might give her a little more leeway, or is it more same old, same old?
Yeah, it probably largely will be same old, because I am kind of curious about this aspect to it. When Ballard, we didn't hear from anybody in the Irsay family at the end of last season. When we heard from Ballard, he did mention, and we talked about it for a couple weeks, and then it played out in free agency, I need to start doing some things differently.
He did do that this year.
Right. So, I do have that question for today. What is this simply just, wait a minute, Ballard did the right stuff. Our guys just got hurt. Again, I'm speaking for Carly Ursay-Gordon here. Is that going to be her mode, or are there actual other things? I don't know, to be honest with you, what those would be. Obviously, you don't have your first-round pick, and you're going to pay, theoretically, Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce a lot of money. So, wiggle room. Why are you cutting some of your own? Very anti-Ballard. If Michael Pittman Jr., Zaire Franklin, Kenny Moore II, whoever else you want to throw in that group, and if any of them are not putting on a Colts uniform next year, that's very anti-Ballard. Is that now more at light? Is Lou Anarumo safe?
He's a candidate for a head coaching job. Last I
see
heard
that with the Giants. Is that are you Cannon a defensive coordinator again? I don't necessarily think that is going to be the pathway here. So that question of for the 2025, there was a very specific, in Ballard's case, I need to do things differently free agency. I don't sit here on January 5th, 2026, and that is obvious to me.
Here's the thing, and I hope maybe you'll be the guy that asks it, but you brought up, I think, to play on words here, the money question. Is this decision to keep both these guys in any way related to the fact of how much money they have remaining on their contracts in addition to what it would cost to bring in a new regime? Right. I think that's a fair question, Kevin.
No, how much is she willing to share on that? Remains to be seen. Scott Dolson, by the way, up on the podcast. Really enjoyed that. Mark Sean McDonough, right? We had him on a lot last year during Notre Dame's run. He's on the call, right? Him and Greg McElroy, IU and Oregon.
Yep, and the rumor is that we'll have him in probably Friday ahead of the game.
By the way, Sean McDonough, I got to know him a little bit during my stint in Boston. He was on the Red Sox broadcast that I was working with. He is an outstanding person, too.
He's a great dude.
I love to listen to him. I love him. He's one of those guys now, it's a big game if he's on the call, Kevin. You just do.
Great. He's absolutely great.
Yeah. It's going to wrap it up for us today. James Boyd will be back again for the full show tomorrow. Kevin, great job.